Guides. I'm Carrie.
I'm Catherine.
And I'm Bree.
Woo!
Today we are going on a tour of Sydney, Australia. Just a forewarning for all of you out there, we have all had shit days. We are all drinking pretty heavily, and we're all pretty grumpy. So we might be a little bit more snarky and sassy than usual.
Be nice to people. You have no idea what they're going through.
Hashtag pandemic.
Hashtag I hate everyone.
And it's not people's fault.
No, people cope in different ways, but don't take it out on other people because that's mean.
And please wear a face mask.
Please.
Just be Bubble Boy, like, for fuck's sake. Just be Bubble Boy. He knew what was up.
Yep. So, as I mentioned in keto, I've never been south of the equator.
Oh. Sorry. When you said keto, I thought we were talking about the food. I was like, wait, we're there already?
Nope, but I will bring it up.
Trust me, I have lots to talk about with wine.
I
So
know. I saw it last night when we were messaging back and forth on the drive again.
Oh, yeah, my wine segment this week is as long as my actual segment. So granted, I sent them a picture. I might post it on the Instagram of me doing my research. It was pretty great. Cool. Anyone else been to Australia?
No.
Nope.
It's
It's on my bucket list, though.
I want to go to the opera.
Yeah.
I have notes just for you about the opera.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to go. I meant such an interesting history Australia has.
Yeah.
And I really want to go to New Zealand. And if I'm going all the way, I'm doing everything.
I want to do a little tour down there. Yeah, so we're cranky. We're drinking. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into our alcohol segment.
Yep, let's do it.
So, yeah.
I'm going to dive head first into the bottle.
Yeah, that's fair. So I was going to do a rhubarb fizz from my Around the World in 80 Cocktails book. However, rhubarb is not in season right now, so...
sad day.
I know. But we wine, and I've said this before, and I'm legitimately surprised that I did not immediately go to wine, because Australia's wine is really good.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
My favorite reds come out of Australia.
This.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I'm going to, dive deep into what this is.
I really like this.
So, no. I'm not going to talk about Yellowtail for all of those who are listening and have no idea which wine we're talking about yet. Where it does come from Australia, you can get much better wines than Yellowtail, and they're still not terribly expensive. So no offense to anyone who drinks Yellowtail, but try these options instead. You're going to thank me. Okay, so as I mentioned, I have a lot of information, and it doesn't help that I just bought a new book.
Go for it.
It's called The Periodic Table of Wine, and I love it.
Didn't you buy that when we were on our wine walk?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
Look at it. Look at it.
We did extensive research this weekend on
Yes,
a
we
wine
did.
walk.
Yes. So, wine in Australia started in 1788 when the new governor of New South Wales planted vine cuttings at Farm Cove on Sydney Harbour. So it's only fitting that we have wine while touring Sydney. There's some funny history with them going overboard with some wines, and this section's already long, so I'm going to spare you that. But basically, they overplanted and were just, overflowing with Sauv Blanc for a while. Mm-hmm. They called it
It's a good problem to have.
They called it the Sauvalanche.
That was an ugly laugh. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's been a rough week. I feel like anything I do is very frantic. So if I laugh, I'm like, ha 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 ha. That's how it goes.
So Australia has 6 major wine regions. The largest is South Australia. Second is New South Wales, which we'll be drinking from later. Western Australia, Victoria, another wine region we're going to be drinking from. Tasmania, and Queensland, getting from largest to smallest in that order.
Nice.
It's a warm, dry climate, so it's excellent for winemaking. Fun fact, almost all Australian wines are stoppered with screw caps. That's what you heard at the beginning of this episode, our nice crack. They call them Stelvins.
Cute.
Stelvins. I like it.
I go crack open a Stelvin.
That's a cute, fish name. This is my beta fish, Stelvin. I feel like it's an amazing beta fish name. We need a beta fish for our podcast recording studio named Stelvin.
Can he be black?
Studio that
Sure.
we don't have.
Yeah.
Black. Of course he's going to be
One
black.
day. One day we're going to have a studio.
No. What
Have you
group
seen the
you're a
koi
part
beta
of?
fish? I'm obsessed with them.
I want. Okay, anyway, I was stopped in the middle of that sentence. They use screw caps even on their premier bottles and age-worthy bottles. Fun fact, number 2. Apparently, the Chinese love Australian wine.
Huh.
They really enjoy full-body reds and pale whites, at me, which are what Australia
Me
does really
too.
well.
There's a fish on Animal Crossing called a pale chub, and I caught
yeah.
it, and I was like, oh, it's me. And I was sitting here by myself playing Animal Crossing as an adult, and I laughed about it for a good 5 minutes.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like, pale chub. Me too.
I had put at me in my notes, and Bree made a comment in there being like, lol.
Sure did.
So surrounding Sydney is one of Australia's largest wine regions, the New South Wales wine region, which is where our first wine, a Semillon, comes from. New South Wales is more inland and benefits from the Big Rivers zone. Again, this is the birthplace of Australian wine, and they are still going very strong today. It did hit a decrease in the 80s.
Okay. It's because everyone was doing cocaine.
Yep.
They didn't need wine.
All right.
They
So
would do cocaine.
the area is subtropical, and so they have hot summers and wet autumns. And is it still the hot? Okay, their summers are our winters.
Yee.
Yeah, I have
And so-
notes on when those are here.
It's like October through April is their growing season, and that really threw me off because I was like, oh wait, Australia.
Yeah. The equator is a wondrous thing.
Yes.
Yeah, because May and June are cold. That's the winter.
Yeah.
And January is super fucking hot.
Yeah. In the past few years, they have been experiencing severe drought. If you'll remember their
Oh,
wildfires.
No, their wildfires. Oh my god, and the wombats.
Well,
I think
that
I
was
talked about them on here.
that was just the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I talked about them on the podcast. The wombats
Yeah.
saved the other animals, and
Yeah,
I
they're
cried.
babies.
Yes,
Yes.
because we're
Perfect.
going through the apocalypse. It is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
apocalypse of 2020.
Yeah.
My gosh,
Um,
I wasn't sad about the koalas for a while.
Drink
'cause
your
I was
wine.
too sad about
Catherine,
everything
drink your
else.
wine.
Now I'm sad
Catherine,
about the koalas too.
Drink.
Oh, we'll have different kinds of koalas
Drink.
later, and you will laugh and be
Okay.
merry.
Oh my gosh. Are they
Maybe-
demon koalas?
Yes.
Oh my
Amazing.
god. Yes.
Okay.
Thank
so
God.
because of the drought, the vineyards have been experimenting with other varietals like Tempranillo and Verdejo. Sorry, I tripped over that because I'm so tired. This is not the Barber of Seville. Calm down.
Sorry, God.
No meat pies.
Oh, I want a meat pie.
Oh my gosh. But they're experimenting with some of these because of climate change.
Oh no.
Don't fuck with my grapes because of climate change, y'all.
Yeah, please. Oh gosh. The world is so
We need to go
sad.
back to horses. Fuck the cars, man.
It's not cars, it's manufacturers.
I
Yep.
know.
Like, the top manufacturing companies control like 70% of carbon emissions on the planet.
Yep.
As someone who comes from a factory town and has seen all of the nastiness that goes
Your town
into the
smells
air
like
for-
dog food.
Because it's a fucking factory town with a Nestle Purina in it.
Oof.
I didn't at you, Nestle Purina. Don't sue me.
So, one of the notable subregions of New South Wales is Hunter Valley, which I could parallel with Napa Valley.
Sure.
You do you, Carrie.
I mean, it's pretty comparable that, it experienced a really big boom. And then, of course, now it's weaning off from that boom. But it does have its notable grapes. But in researching it, I was like, this has a lot of parallels to the history of Napa. But Hunter Valley's traditional wine grape is this Semillon, which is what we are drinking. It's a Hunter Valley Semillon.
Drink.
Semillon is a white grape variety that is tied closely with Bordeaux. Over half of the world's acreage of Semillon is in France.
Is Bordeaux red or white? It's red, right?
Bordeaux's the region.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's the Bordeaux region. They have their notable reds, and we can talk about Bordeaux whenever we
Sure.
Do,
sure. That was just
yeah.
a question because
No,
I thought it was
red too.
because I thought it would be interesting that this would because it's just I guess different process, but I didn't know if they were
right. And so there's a lot of intricacies that go into Bordeaux wines,
Gotcha.
but it's the region, and it's a high quality region.
got it.
Okay.
And so that's why it's like, oh, it's a Bordeaux wine.
Got it.
However,
Today.
do what?
So we being learned today.
Yee.
Something positive. I learned a new fact about wine today.
I got lots of facts about wine for
I
you.
like wine.
So Australia is second in the growing of Semillon with about a quarter of the world's acreage.
Is New Zealand first?
France is first.
Oh.
That's what I got interrupted with.
I was just shooting at a guess. I really am just thinking about going to New Zealand. I want to
Oh.
go so bad.
So over half of the world's acreage is in France, and then
Okay.
the following quarter is in Australia.
Got it.
It's another versatile grape, so it is capable of making sweet and dry wines. what we were drinking today is a dry. Semillons in Australia are known to have notes of lemon, apple, pear, white flowers, and maybe some waxiness. However, it is capable of... However, comma... Sorry, I like to run through my commas when I read. However, it is capable of aging, and through that process, it can pick up notes of butter, vanilla, and smoke.
Interesting.
It is frequently blended with Sauvignon Blanc and Muscadelle, and is sometimes added to Chardonnay to make it have a bit more bite to it. One example of pairing, it had me, like, I was legit salivating, like, reading this pairing and thinking about this wine.
Ugh.
Roast chicken, butternut squash, and mushroom risotto.
Oh, yeah. That would be good.
The mushroom.
I'll just make risotto. I'll do like an asparagus risotto instead.
Oh my god, that sounds bomb titties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
I just, other pairings.
Sorry, truffle in Italy and... Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
We just ate, but I'm like... I'll explain to you why I'm so hungry when I explain food.
Yeah.
You don't care.
Other pairings include richer fish entrees like black cod and pork chop.
Thank you.
Oh.
I like pork chops. Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. A good bottle is about $14, which is what I spent on this one, and it's a
pretty reasonable.
It's a good bottle.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done. It was good.
She's out of her. It's okay. We have a splash more that I'm gonna get after I finish reading about this because I want more as well. And my glass is on the table, which is like a
They're so
solid
pretty,
3 feet
though.
away from me.
I'm so excited how they turned out.
Oh yeah, Bree bought me some wine glasses for my birthday, and they are gorgeous. And so we're
feel
drinking
pretty,
from them.
too.
Oh yeah, like it feels very natural.
Yeah, and it's
so
like
pretty.
so dainty, like delicate, like...
And so you'll see them on the Instagram, and I'm super excited about them.
Both your birthday presents from us had to do with wine.
Yes, my little tea towel.
All of Carrie's presents have to do with
Thank
wine.
God.
I'm apparently the alcoholic in my friend group.
Friends with a hobby make shopping so much better.
Seriously.
I know,
my
but it
God.
gets me pointed as the alcoholic every single time. Like,
No,
my
your
friends are
hobby
like,
is understanding wine.
You are a
It's-
connoisseur.
Exactly.
Yeah, you are pre-sommelier. If you say
Yeah.
it like that, it's
Yeah.
Right.
not.
Yeah.
It makes it
Tacky.
sound fancy.
Yeah.
It's way classier.
Fancy.
Oh, I went off at someone.
Carrie.
Shocker.
Going off.
Well, they called me an alcoholic because of like what I do for the podcast, and you know I make all the drinks and stuff, and I like post Snapchats about them every now and then, whatnot. And they're like, I mean, you're the alcoholic of the friend group. I was like, no, I'm a mixologist and pre-sommelier. Suck it, it's my job. And they're like, what?
You're welcome.
It's one drink a week.
Yeah,
See?
I know. Like I literally only drink when I'm with people. So I like for this, and then like maybe on the weekends if we're going to an event or if Zach and I
If we all go to a wine walk together, then
Right.
then we'll drink that.
like I don't drink that frequently. Okay, Mavis is on my lap and Nita's right there, right next to me, and I'm nervous.
Maybe this is like I'm doing.
Anyway, I have one final fun fact before I can get more wine, so I'm gonna get through my fun facts so I can pour myself some more.
Priorities.
There we go. Semillon is also called Hunter Valley Riesling, and Hunter Valley is the region where it's most prevalently grown. So
That makes sense.
yeah, there's your little fun fact about Semillon. I'm gonna stop
Nice.
this real quick so I can get more wine. Boop, boop, boop. All right, wine has been poured, and we are now seated, and I can talk about our second wine, which we have not started yet because this first one is so damn delicious.
So good. I know what I was gonna say. We need to try that Naked Winery. Sorry, continue.
Oh yeah.
Like really, like listening to that episode today, I was like, "Holy shit, I want this!"
Yeah.
all of it in my mouth. That too. Usually that too.
If y'all could have just
Ew.
seen my face just like devolve into
Demon Carrie.
yeah.
I have that face too.
So our second wine is from the south of Sydney in the Victoria wine region, and they're known for their Shiraz.
Oh, my favorite red, besides sweet red blends that are chilled because I'm a pansy, which is ironic that my other favorite is Shiraz, but I love Shiraz. It's so tasty.
It is really tasty. So the Victoria wine region is the smallest region, but it has the most diverse vine growing conditions. It also boasts about 800 wineries, but most of them are small that just serve their community. So,
My favorite kind.
So we
yeah,
need to go
super cute.
and visit all of the local wineries.
Hey guys, maybe someone donate so that we have more than $3 in our
We don't even have $3.
So
yet.
we have more
than
than $3 because we will give you such great content. If If you give us money.
Oh, we'd have to stay for like a year.
Get us, I'm down though. Like, get us Litty Titties and you will have wonderful content all the damn time.
Okay. So Shiraz comes from the Syrah grape. So don't be confused if you see them in the same section. However, you can use the name to narrow down where it comes from. Old World tends to use Syrah, while New World tends to use Shiraz.
Take that, waitress at that restaurant that one time.
Also, when I was typing my notes, it says Wild New World, and it really wants to change it to Whole New World. So I think
A whole
Google's
new world of wine in a glass and drinking it.
Sorry, we were
That's
on completely different.
Yeah.
We both. It's fine. Why I'm grumpy and still hungry is also why I am feeling this wine very much.
Yeah. But yeah, so I had a little moment last night when I was like, it's trying to correct it to Whole New World, and I giggled, and Zach was like, what are you giggling about? I see murder on your screen. I was like, yep.
I see murder on your screen.
Oh my god, that pillow.
Yeah.
Introverted, but will talk about true crime. I'm buying that because and that shirt that says
It's never a mannequin.
no, it's
it
never
is
mannequin,
never
but
mannequin.
the one that says comfy clothes and murder shows,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then true crime in bed by 9, and
Yes.
yours is introverted, but we'll talk about true crime. I found all of our sayings.
Right? It was funny because last week in Colin was like, what'd you guys do last night? I'm like, we ate food and watched a murder show. And he's like, yep, that makes sense. It does.
Why would I do anything else? I don't know.
Honestly.
I showed you my Animal Crossing island too, so like
There you go. Yeah.
Helicat. We did everything we needed to do.
Yeah. Okay, so fun fact, Australians are the ones who coined the term Shiraz to distinguish their unique flavors of their Syrah and their wine.
Uh-huh.
Our Shiraz tonight is considered New World because it's from Australia, so we can expect a fruitier, full-bodied wine with lower acidity and softer tannins than the Old World Shiraz.
Bruh.
That sounds
Speaking
good.
my language.
Yeah.
A red wine I can enjoy without a migraine.
Yep.
Bless it.
So, similar to the Semillon, France is the most popular grower of Syrah. However, it is not nearly as...
Light. Right?
No, it's just not as abundant.
Oh, okay.
So, it's less of a percentage.
Gotcha.
And because Australia is a very close second, and Syrah is grown more popularly around the world.
In New Zealand, right?
I don't think New Zealand was number 3.
There's one like New Zealand farmer who's like, I got some. He just has like
I love
single
cutting.
Ask us on Instagram.
he has
damn
a single vine in his backyard. He's like, I'll make you some.
Well, they measure
my
in acres,
God.
so
Somebody make us a bottle and send it.
He's
to
actually a
us.
hobbit who just makes wine.
Hobbit
Wine
says.
and bread and cheese, and he just
All
makes
of the good
charcuterie
things.
boards.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And has wine because literally everyone's like, I'm an elf because I'm graceful and powerful, and everyone's like, oh well I'm one of the proud sons of man. I'm like, I'm a hobbit. I eat shit and sit at home.
accurate, same. Okay, so some notes can include dark berries like blackberries or plums, and black currant.
Oh my god, yes.
Unique to Australian Shiraz are notes of eucalyptus.
Oh.
That's so Australian.
It is.
But it's actually, it doesn't affect it, right? Like wine tastings are completely separate from like associations, right?
But that's something that they pull from their wines.
Okay.
And so that's why they
They
coined
cultivate
the term
it for that?
Shiraz.
Okay.
And not calling it Syrah because it does pull
Oh
that
my god,
unique
koalas
Fun
everywhere.
fact, there's a UNESCO whatever heritage site.
World Heritage?
Is it the Blue something mountains? I don't know. Blue something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, in Australia there's a UNESCO World Heritage site because they have like the most fucking eucalyptus in the world
yeah.
or some shit.
Eucalyptus is my favorite smell.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
When it's like when they sell it at like Trader Joe's and stuff, I just like put it in my shower when I take a shower, like sprigs of it. Bruh.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that just was reminded of a fun fact that I didn't.
We're all
include.
excited about eucalyptus, man.
Oh, it's so nice. So relaxing. So it's best to pair with bold dishes like lamb shawarma,
I like
gyros,
shawarma.
and Indian tandoori.
I love Indian food.
Yeah, so I'm like, those don't have anything really to do with Australia, but I'll eat all of those with them.
So fucking good.
There's a great British influence in Australia, and there's a great
Uh-huh.
Indian influence in England. So therefore,
We'll
Yeah.
talk about the British influence in
I
Australia.
say influence. I meant
Yeah.
it was a whole shit show. But anyways,
Yeah, we'll
continue.
talk about it. It's fine.
I mean, if the adults who are listening don't know about what happened with Australia and its founding.
It's a penal colony, not that kind of penal.
So you can spend about $25 for a good bottle, according to my Wine Folly book. But the one that we got was less than $20. So it just really kind of depends on
Your budget.
Well, I mean, it depends on where it comes from, the region. Because you can get an awesome Australian wines for cheaper because they're not so hoity-toity about...
As France.
Yeah.
Because France.
Even though we had a champagne
Sorry, our French
on the
listeners.
wine walk that was...
That was pretty good.
I loved it.
That was good. Was that the last stop?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was
At the
good.
macaron place?
Yes.
Two
where I bought,
deliciously
like,
French
fucking
things.
20 or something.
I have one final fun fact. There's a sub-region in Victoria called Pyrenees, which made me giggle because Zach had a great Pyrenees named Charlemagne.
Oh!
And there's so much irony there that
Yeah.
I just had to
That's
share
cute.
that fun fact.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And so those are
Charlemagne
our
is
wines for
freaking
today.
Amazing.
I know I've been talking forever, but I was really excited to get all this
That's
information.
okay. Food won't take me very long. So here's why I'm hungry.
I've talked for 22 minutes.
So I am going back on my keto diet because due to increased stress and decreased physical activity that comes with quarantine and going back to work during quarantine, my eating habits were not as healthy as they should be. And so keto diets actually help with inflammation. So like it's recommended for people with autoimmune diseases. And so I am back at it again. And so I modified our meal because it was so close to being keto already. I just modified it.
Yep.
So we had, which is something interesting, as an Italian American, I grew up making this dish one way. Mm-hmm. And apparently it's very, very popular as a pub food. So we made chicken parmesan or chicken parm or a parmy, as it's called.
Chicky parm.
Chicky chicky. Chicky chicky parm parm. Go-go juice. So...
Please be our friends, the entire cast of Parks and Rec. Thank you.
Amazing. So the chicken parmesan is like a popular pub food, and it's served with fries there, like French fries. And they also add ham onto their chicken parm. So it's like half Americanized chicken cordon bleu, half American. Well, chicken parmesan is just Italian American. It's not really Italian. Just the combo. And we served it with sauteed spinach because I needed a vegetable. So I did not put on breading. One, it's not gluten-free, and I could have used gluten-free breadcrumbs, but keto. So I literally coated it in egg and Italian herbs and Parmesan cheese, baked it, added ham and provolone on top. You can use mozzarella, but they said provolone is pretty common in Australia.
Good
And
choice.
I baked it, and it was delicious, and I understand why it's a pub food, because it's like a giant chicken tender with sauce
Yes.
Yeah.
and cheese and salty ham
I
on top
wish
of
it had
it.
been a pub food when I studied abroad in Italy, although the kebab was bomb tatas.
Yeah.
Man. Oof. But yeah, this was real good.
It was good, and it was not low fat, not low sodium, but very, very low carbohydrates, so you do you. So yeah, that was our meal. It was pretty tasty. I love the fact that it's served with French fries. I think that would go really well. Italian Americans, we typically serve it with pasta. I also pounded mine down a little bit. If I had my meat cleaver and my meat hammer, I would have pounded it down more. Because in my family, you pound them down to like super, super, super thin to make chicken parm. It's like a surface area, crispiness level, tenderness concept. But I had to use the back of a plastic measuring cup, so they did not get as flat as I put them. It sounded like someone was like smacking someone's booty, because it was like chicken meat, and I was like smack, smack, smack. And Colin came out and he goes, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm trying to use a plastic dry measuring cup to pound down my chicken." And he was like, "Okay."
See, in that case, I've had to do that once. I literally just like use my fist. And
Eventually I was just like bam, bam, and making sound effects. But it was not super easy. But it is a delicious keto meal. You could also substitute if you don't do pork. You could easily take off. I did a garlic and tomato sauce on it, but it's very versatile, and it was easy and very tasty. And I also didn't want to do like fried chicken like I did with Atlanta, which was last week. And so this technically didn't have breading, and I didn't fry it in butter. I just baked it, and it got crispy on its own accord.
No, it was really good.
That's tasty.
So yeah. Oh, also something
nice
else
comfort food.
really cute I read is that they do, like, the pubs compete in, like, chicken parmesan games to see, like, who is the best chicken parmesan, and there's people who, like, go and rate all the chicken parmesan
That is wonderful.
at all the pubs. And this is very charming.
Can I be, like, one of the judges? Like, feed
Yeah.
me all your chicken
Yeah, so, like, people, like, go to different pubs, and, like, you know, every place has their own, like, pub food.
Okay, so here's what we have to do. We need to go try the chicky parm.
So fucking fat.
Chicken parm.
We need to try the chicky parm
why I want
at
keto.
the bars. And I haven't tried this, but apparently rosé prosecco, or like rosé bubbles,
I've had it once.
is really good
Delicious.
with chicken parmesan. I'm like,
Ooh.
I want to try that pairing really bad.
Yeah. Well,
And so with my Total Wine order, Total Wine, please sponsor us. I bought an extra bottle in addition to
Our hashtag.
Total Wine, please sponsor us.
please sponsor us, Total Wine.
Please.
Or Trader Joe's.
Or Trader Joe's.
Oh, I dropped a lot of money at Total Wine. I'm not an alcoholic, I promise. But yeah, they had their winery direct, and so I got extra points, and I got 10% off because I added this bottle, and I was like, okay, it's worth it. It was like $9, and so I want to go get chicken parm somewhere and try this out.
My dad makes incredible chicken
I'm
parm.
sure he does. Oh my gosh.
And we'll do it with, like, gnocchi.
No.
Or gnocchi, if you're actually Italian and not from Philadelphia. All right, Bree.
Okay.
Educate us on the history of Sydney.
Educate you today.
P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney!
Oh, is it cute? We
Except
talked
for
last
apparently
week
we-
about how I had that whole fucking
Except
movie
apparently
memorized.
we hate Ellen now.
Yeah.
Ellen.
Apparently she's
Yeah.
not nice.
Apparently she's like really rude to people on
And
set.
that breaks my heart.
DeGeneres?
Yeah.
No.
Ellen degenerate, am I right?
I'm really glad that joke popped into my head and then you said it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm kind of devastated.
I'm devastated too.
I really wanted her to be nice because she seems
I
so
know.
nice.
Well, like, she had her whole public apology thing, but of course that doesn't make anything right. But, yeah, I was just like, what is going on? Like, 2020, stop this.
2020.
They even took Dory from us.
I know.
They took J.K. Rowling and Ellen DeGeneres. Do I have any icons left? Never meet your heroes.
Fat Five.
20.
Fat Fives do not go bad.
Who?
Fat Five?
Oh.
Y'all were
God.
yelling over me, and I was just, like,
Never.
speaking into my mic because I know that the listeners
As long
will
as
care
Maggie
about me.
Smith stays herself, I will never fear.
Queen.
Don't curse her.
No.
Knock on
Knock
wood
on
now.
all the wood.
I knocked everything available.
Okay, so the history. Oh, but first, you were talking about the keto for your joints and stuff, and I was Googling acupressure to help rheumatoid. Not that.
I have rheumatoid arthritis.
Shut up.
Me after a bottle of wine. But I'm also not supposed to drink with rheumatoid arthritis or keto.
Okay, we'll talk about this later. History. The natives were the Aboriginals. The original
The Aboriginals.
That was a struggle because I had that, like, original Aboriginals. Like, hold the fuck up, man. Inhabitants were the Gadigal people. And that's probably not how
Remember
you say
when we
it,
watched
whatever.
Kangaroo Jack at the lake house?
Wasn't there for that.
Oh. You missed Kangaroo Jack?
Sure did.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yep.
We
I was
watched
there the
Kangaroo
next
Jack.
night.
When did that come out?
A hip.
Like when I was in elementary school.
Okay, because I was like,
Fucking loves that movie.
it's been so long. I don't
And then
remember
it's
anything
pretty
about it.
iconic, except for he literally grabs her boobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she punches him, but still, assault and 2 levels. Not okay, people.
Yeah.
He's like, it's a mirage. And he's like, they feel so real. And I was like, this movie is for children, and we don't treat women like that.
Yeah.
Also, all the main characters were American, and it's an Australian. It takes
Yeah.
place in, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like supposed to be Aussie shampoo.
Why aren't we optimizing on Australian accents right now?
Because my Australian accent's not very good. But speaking of Australians,
Okay, about 20.
guys, I have a master's in performance. But speaking of Australians, Bindi Irwin is pregnant, so congratulations.
Aww.
I'm sorry for what just happened to the...
You're the worst, Carrie.
Sorry, I'll take it away from the mic.
But like, she's pregnant, so congratulations, Bindi Irwin.
Aww.
Quarantine was good for someone.
She just got married. They got married at the beginning of quarantine at the zoo.
Aw.
Of course she would. That's adorable.
Amazing.
That is adorable. There are about 29 clan groups of the metropolitan area, which are collectively called the Eora Nation, which means from this place or here.
That
They
makes sense.
predated the European settlers, by at least 50,000 years. You can still find some of their traditional art on some of the rocks.
Oh.
During the 1900s, the Aboriginal community... I'm starting with the Aboriginal people because they were there first, so fuck off.
Fair.
But the Aboriginal community increased political activism, and they helped create support systems for urban Aboriginal people. And then there was the self-determination movement, which grew in the late 60s, and they were able to make their own opportunities and initiatives in terms of, like, education.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked up what the self-determination movement was. Quotes, it states that people, based on respect for the principle of equal rights and fair equality of opportunity, have the right to freely choose their sovereignty and international political status with no interference, which sounds fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like, are they seen as independent nations like some of our Native American Indian tribes?
So I don't know the specifics.
Only they picked.
Sorry, I'm throwing shade over here, as I do.
You're good. Oh, we always throw shade. It's what we do. All
Because
of
we're
my
all
notes
grouchy
have
today.
shade.
There's a musical called Bloody Bloody, Andrew Jackson,
My bad.
and there's a song called Populism, yeah, yeah, and that's the only thing I know.
Aw,
I know, rough.
that's rough. Yeah.
Okay, well, James Cook made it worse. Showed up
Oh,
and claimed
good.
the coast for Britain in 1770. Yeah, doesn't that sound familiar?
Is that the same dude?
Zanzibar?
Yep.
Pretty sure. It was a Cook, I'm pretty sure. We talked about a Cook, didn't we? Or was
Also
it-
Honolulu.
Or no, not Zanzibar. It was Honolulu. I don't know
Is
what
it
the
the
fuck I'm
same?
talking about.
If they're
It
British,
was-
they all have the same fucking name.
It was Honolulu.
Oh my god, we're making
Keep talking,
global
I'm gonna look.
connections.
Okay, I don't remember.
Wow.
I thought that was the same name, but I was like, this sounds
It's
familiar.
a very common name, so it could be a different person.
Yeah. Okay, but that was in 1770. Captain Arthur Phillip brought the first fleet to Australia's shores in January of 1788. He brought over prisoners, hello transportation, aka where you transport fucking felons from one country to another.
It's a penal colony.
What she said.
Okay, James Cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Honolulu,
In the 1700s?
1778.
Well, what? I bet it's the
17.
same guy.
1778.
He was a bastard. Oh. okay.
Wow. So he really got around.
Winky face.
We don't slut shame here, just men. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Just
kidding.
just men taking over other people's lives.
Right.
Fuckers. Isn't that what they do, though?
I mean, I get
Rape
the
and
spirit.
genocide isn't normal?
So like the
Ooh,
thing
shots
that
fired.
like sucks is like I get the like spirit of exploration and like going to new places. It's just like the let's take all of our felons, some of
Yeah.
which are real felons, some of which
yeah.
are just like I stole a loaf of bread, Jean Valjean, and then take them and put them over. Who am I? Yeah, but anyway, so like
You always make a reference.
just threw him on a continent, and we're like, good luck, everyone. It's hot here.
Have fun with your giant spiders.
Yeah.
Oh, but they did other fucked up shit, too. We'll get to it. So they were meant to establish a prison settlement, like we said.
A penal colony.
Europeans,
Not
with
that
their
penal.
disease-ridden asses, took out the natives pretty quickly.
Yeah.
In addition to the diseases,
America.
they also took all of the indigenous people's food, so they starved them too.
It's
eventually
Thanksgiving,
forcing
everyone.
them- for
At
real.
America.
Eventually forcing them off of their own land. They learned it from somewhere. Fuck.
Yeah.
Never really meant to be a city, but the governor. Oh yeah, we're transitioning, by the way.
To Sydney?
Sydney, yeah, was never really meant to. Well, that was all Sydney.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm sure there was different peoples all over the whole
Yeah.
continent.
oh yeah.
It's a big
That was
continent.
just the peoples
People
in
of
that
Sydney.
area. Yeah.
Of the
But
land
Sydney,
that is now Sydney.
yeah, was never meant to
The
be a
land
city,
known
but
as
Governor Macquarie decided to make it such from 1810 to 1821 until he was forced back to London for spending too much money.
Me too. Amazon.
Oops. Honestly.
Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Etsy.
Macquarie.
Smile.amazon.com because I want my profits to go somewhere,
Yes.
not to Bezos. Thank you.
Yes. What she said. Okay. Regardless, what he started continued to grow as prisoners earned their freedom and free settlers started migrating to Sydney. The staples of a community started popping up: markets, school, churches, a library, all that good shit. And it was
Take note of what's important in the old-timey times. School. Why is that not important now? Question mark.
Schools,
Libraries?
E.
I meant food. I agree is also important.
Yes.
So that's fair.
Yes. But they
Survival.
were all nestled comfortably amongst the prison areas.
Yeah.
Okay.
But hey, transportation.
You had to be where water was, so doesn't.
Yeah.
There was like this lore, like the inland water, and there are all these explanations, and they're like, y'all are fucking stupid. It's desert. Anyway, there was this guy
There's
who
the
like
big
wrote a whole
river
book on it,
region.
and he'd never set foot in Sydney or I don't think
Sure.
Australia. What?
The big river region? There's literally like big ass rivers like fingering through.
Oh no, but I'm talking about like
The
inland
outback.
and then like
Yeah.
desert ass nothingness. They're talking big ass like
Oh, yeah.
sea reservoir shit.
Oh, yeah.
They're fucking crazy. Anyway, transportation ended in 1840.
It's a mirage.
In 42, Sydney was established as a city. They discovered gold in 1851. So they saw a rapid.
Gold.
I was waiting for that
I like
comment.
gold.
I almost put a note in here. Insert Catherine's fucking gold
So,
member comment.
I love Austin Powers Gold Member. I think that is an incredible movie. I will just stand by it forever. And my dog's name, may he rest in peace, my perfect, precious baby angel miniature schnauzer was named Scotty. Because when he was a puppy, when I wanted to yell at him, which I never did because he was perfect, I would go, Scotty, don't. And I would laugh and laugh and laugh, and I would not care what he did.
Oh, he was great.
He was such a good boy.
Was a good boy.
But yeah, they discovered it in 1851, so they saw a rapid increase of newcomers from China, Europe, and North America, which led to lots of crazy ass parties apparently, because tons of people got
Heyo.
rich, whether from the gold digging or from all the quote.
Now, I ain't saying she a gold digger.
I'm in need.
I ain't messing with no broke.
That wasn't even the right part, but I forgot
It's
the
fun.
rest.
I just did the Glee version because
Yep. Because we're not going to say that naughty word.
no.
Or from all of the quote shonky building that's from the Sydney, Australia, like government website, shonky
Huh.
building that was suddenly
I'm going to bring
being
that
done.
word to America. That's shonky.
It's SHONKY, and I'm like, this is a delightfully fucking weird word. It's like
Quit being so
chunky.
shonky.
Okay, but don't worry, they soon bougied it up in the architecture department. Victorian edifices were reflective of the increasingly richer society. They used signature local Sydney sandstone that gave it that golden hue to build places like civil service offices and town hall because, of course, fucking government gets all the good shit, even though there's some corrupt, stupid-ass motherfuckers. Anyway, they became one of the largest cities in the Western world by the end of the 1800s. But it no longer has that title. Sydney is well known for the Opera House and beaches,
Heyo.
among another number of other attractions.
The Great Barrier Reef is on the Sydney side, not the Perth, Melbourne side, right?
No, isn't it on the... I don't know.
I think it's on
Hang
the
on.
Sydney side. Because I know there's, like, not major cities in the middle, but there's major cities on both sides. Because when Gracie's friend moved to Perth, she really loved it. She would send it to her, like, Snapchats of, like, kangaroos literally just, like, chilling on their lawn. And I was like, what a
damn.
life.
Oh my kangies.
I was a kangaroo in a musical once. Garden of Eden. I fought with my partner about who got to carry the baby.
Of course you did. Okay, so some fun facts. The pacemaker was originally invented in Sydney
Oh.
Oh,
by
interesting.
Dr. Mark Lidwell in 1926, and he did it at the Crown Street Women's Hospital. He successfully brought back a stillborn baby,
Oh, wow.
and the baby's heart continued to beat after 10 minutes with the pacemaker. But he wouldn't take credit because of ethical concerns.
Oh. So, sorry, bringing it back around, because
Wait. Okay, say your thing first.
Great Barrier Reef is north of Sydney in Queensland.
Okay.
I knew it was north, but I couldn't remember if it was west or east.
Okay.
It is on the eastern side, but north of Sydney.
Okay.
Gotcha. Were you going to say something?
So, like, bringing someone back from the dead was considered an ethical dilemma? quote unquote.
I don't know if that was the ethical dilemma or not. I don't know. They didn't specify.
Dr. Frankenstein over
honestly.
here. Sorry, I just saved your newborn child. Sorry about it. Sorry, not devastated family. Sorry, I messed with ethics.
Rollin' the hay.
That's my. Guys, one of my all-time favorite movies is Young Frankenstein.
It's wonderful because Gene Wilder is amazing.
I love Gene Wilder.
God rest him. Okay.
Saw a really funny video with him and his bloopers of Young Frankenstein,
Yeah.
and I laughed so hard.
He was amazing. Loved him.
I wish I could find that video again so I could show y'all.
So
if I
in
see
March
it.
1932, it was the official opening of the Sydney Harbor Bridge, and Francis de Groot, a retired Bibo Groot.
I am Groot.
He was a retired cavalry officer. He galloped on his horse and slashed the ribbon, like the, like new opening ribbon or whatever of the bridge, with his sword.
I thought you meant like ribbon dancing on a horse.
No.
I was like, that's amazing.
No.
Sign me up.
He declared that the bridge was open in the name of, quote, the decent citizens of New South Wales. But he was later, they said he was insane. And then they still fined his ass to replace the cost of the ribbon. Like, fuck you, but also how much does a ribbon cost? And what? All of that, what?
It's pretty funny.
And I love him. Like,
You owe me a tuppence for the ribbon you have destroyed.
Tuppence. Okay.
1 tuppence is your fine. Guys, my accent doesn't even make sense. It's nothing. It is a nothing accent. I'm making up a country right now. God.
Okay, the Sydney Harbor Bridge was also nicknamed the coat hanger because of its arch-based design. And they have, tours and shit where you can, go up and climb that fucker, but they make you give them all of your shit. No phones, nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Pocket.
you can drop it on the fucking cars that continue to drive by underneath, and it's a liability issue.
That's why they have all the things on the Empire State Building. People used to drop pennies off, and that shit can do some damage.
Yeah.
If you drop it from the top, it can kill people.
Yeah.
Fun fact. About the Empire State
Avenue
Building.
Q.
Okay, let's see. What else
Lucy
we
the
got?
slut gets hit in the head with a coin from the top of the Empire State Building.
Have I gone on my rant with y'all about Avenue Q and the asshole that was like, if you were a character, you'd be Lucy? And I'll be like, shut the fuck
It's okay. I'd be Kate Monster.
We have talked about this.
There's a line that says I'm kind of pretty and pretty damn smart. I like romantic things like music and art. And as you know, I have a gigantic heart, so why don't I have a boyfriend?
We literally
You're
Fuck,
married
that
to
ought to
this.
be.
We have had this because I was like, but you're married. Shut up.
Had this conversation
I'm married to my
before.
first boyfriend because I'm Lucy.
Okay, so the SS
You're not Lucy.
airfield ship, which was 102 years old.
You just said
was
you were
used
Lucy.
During World War II as a transport ship, was brought to Homebush Bay in Sydney in 1972 to be dismantled. But they didn't, and so it was transformed into a fucking floating forest, and we're going because I love forests.
Like,
fuck yes.
Wait, like Life of Pi floating forest?
I don't fucking
Like
know.
carnivorous meerkats and crap?
No, I don't think so.
Wait, no, the
Meerkats,
island was
though.
carnivorous. The meerkats lived on the island.
I love meerkats. Wasn't Zaboomafu a meerkat?
No,
he was a lemur.
Oh, that's right. But I also love meerkats.
Me and you and Zaboomafu.
He just had a granddaughter.
Come on
Zamumafu
down
has
the
died, but his
sea
granddaughter was
Yeah.
recently born.
As the animals
Which
do. Me
is
and
so
you
cute.
and
Sick.
Zaboomafu.
Steve Irwin and the Crap Brothers, my God. My young
That was my
PBS
childhood.
heart is
Honestly,
all about it.
Honestly. Okay. Another fun fact. There are 15,500 light bulbs that are changed every year at the Sydney Opera House.
Yes.
It was completed in 1973. It took 14 years and 10,000 construction workers to build.
Ooh.
And the overall cost was $102 million. And originally, I think it was projected to be like $7 million or some shit.
Every construction project ever.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And it took them 6 more years to do it, probably.
There are 6,233 square meters of topaz colored glass that they
pretty.
used to make it. And it was made to order by Boussois Souchon Nouvelle. I don't know how I
Ooh.
did that, but I tried my French and it's been like 8 years.
Uh-huh.
In France, in
Just
a
stick it in the
shade
nose, you'll be fine.
used, honestly,
Uh-huh.
used only by the Sydney Opera House. So, you fancy.
Yeah.
And the grand organ in the Opera House is the largest mechanical tracker action pipe organ in the world.
I love it.
It has 10,154 pipes, and it took 10 years to make it.
Oh my gosh, I gotta go see it.
Yeah.
I have to see it.
I need, like, that bit. Okay.
We're going.
The Sydney funnel web spider is one of the most dangerous on Earth.
Yep.
It can kill a human in 15 minutes, and its fangs can bite through gloves and fingernails. Last fun fact. Oh, yeah. Last fun fact. Sydney has the deepest natural harbor in the world. It has 504,000 megaliters of water. Just, to give you a reference point, that is 264,172 gallons.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just a couple.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's fine. All right, so now for the lore. Okay, let's see if I can even pronounce this motherfucker. The Yaramayahu.
What was that?
Fuck off, Carrie. That's what that was. So they're supposed to be like nursery boogie people things, whatever, boogeymen, to discourage children from going to dangerous parts. So they're super ugly, and I guess they'd be funny if they weren't so damn ugly. So they're no more than 4 feet tall. They're covered in fur and red, and they have a really big fucking head. It has a toothless mouth, and
Do they gum them to death?
It's kind of like a snake, so it can open its mouth like
Okay.
a snake, and its throat and
So,
stomach.
like, unhinge its jaws?
Essentially, yeah. Its throat and stomach are distendable. That word. So they can swallow an adult man without any issues. And their fingers and toes have suction cups. They're really good climbers, but they waddle like cockatoos.
They're Spidey-Mans.
So they like to like hang out in like fig trees that have a shit ton of leaves, and they'll wait for like days in the branches until someone comes to like just chill under the tree or something. And they will attach their hands and feet onto the victim's body and use the suction cups to drain the blood out of them like fucking leeches. But they won't, like, suck all the blood out, only enough to make them, like, pass out. And then they'll leave it alone for a while, and then they'll return to swallow them whole head first.
Ooh.
And apparently, quote, a little dance lets the food slide down. The meal is washed down with water, and the Yaramayahu takes a nap.
Me too.
And then when they wake up, they vomit the prey back out.
Oh.
And the
Not
person's usually alive still, but they play dead.
Okay.
And so, quote, the Yaramayahu takes 5 paces, then returns and pokes his victim's side with a stick. Then it walks away 10 paces before returning to tickle the human under the arm or neck. A 50-yard stroll is followed up by more tickling. Then the Yaramayahu goes behind a bush and sleeps. This ritual is always repeated. The Yaramayahu know that if they fail to carry out these actions, the spirit of the fig tree will mumble in their ears, causing them to transform into glowing tree mushrooms. For this reason, it is safest to play dead until this point when you get to your feet and run. Then apparently, this little beastie says, "Where have you gone, my victim?" Because if it hears you escaping.
Well, that's polite.
But it walks all awkward, so it can't catch up. So, if they can't catch you, they will drink up all the water in the nearby wells and water holes, and so then more people will
Suffer, right?
look for liquid from the tree sap, and then they will fall prey to the beastie again.
Okay.
The beastie.
So you can't let it swallow you multiple times, though, because the second time you're swallowed and then thrown back up, you become shorter and completely hairless.
Well, I can't get any shorter,
Oh,
but
it gets
completely
better. It
hairless
gets-
wouldn't be the
it
worst
gets
thing.
I
better.
know. If I could
The third
not shave
time,
my legs ever
you
again, that'd be
become
awesome.
Even shorter, and thick hair grows over your body.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
so after 2, we're done.
And then eventually you become one of the beasties itself. And Hoovelmans believed that the beastie was inspired by tarsiers. Furry, big-eyed, and with suction cup fingers, it is more of a mammalian frog than anything else. End quote.
It's kind of cute, actually.
So the next one is a bunyip.
Nah.
And I had in parentheses, I said, okay, but seriously, isn't this the thing you get on your feet? And Carrie was like, no, honey, this is the bunion. Okay, so the Europeans really, believed in the bunyip. So it was supposed to be like some new creature waiting to be discovered by them because, of course. And so they tried to find one. to, like, get rich and shit. But the Aboriginal tribes knew that it was a malevolent force that would, like, chill at the bottom of, like, billabongs and creeks and shit, and they would eat anyone who went down at the wrong time. And that's what they told kids.
Yeah.
It was apparently cited and shit. They allegedly have horses' manes, flippers, fangs, dog faces, tusks, 2 eyes, 1 eye, shaggy fur, short hair, horns, and, you know, sometimes as big as a horse or small as a dog. So, like, nobody's ever seen this fucker, and there are all types of descriptions.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
But the indigenous and non-indigenous Australians believed in it. And the legend stems from the Aboriginal ancestral memories, allegedly, of the Diptotodon australis, a 3-ton bear-like creature that was, like, one of the biggest marsupials ever. And apparently it became extinct about 40,000 years ago. So now to the demon koalas. Drop bears!
Hey.
Amazing.
So, drop bears are like koalas with fangs, and they'll drop out of the trees and like attack you.
Bears, they just drop out of trees and attack you. It's like you know those toys where they're like cute and then you squeeze them and they go and their fangs come out. It's like that.
So here's the quote: "The snugglerific koala turned him into a remorseless widowmaker with a taste for the sweet tang of human flesh."
Sweet tang of human flesh.
Yeah, so it says they're related to koalas, allegedly, but they're supposed to be slightly darker and have blood-dripping fangs, and they hunt at night. Okay, so then there's the dreaming, which I loved this idea. I thought it was kind of awesome. So it's like the worldview of the indigenous Australian culture. And it's a shit ton of different, like, legends and stories and shit that explain the process of, like, creation of the world and whatnot. So the first fire was from the north coast of New South Wales, and it's about a tribe of people who lived in the sky world, and they could light fires using stars that were close by before anyone on Earth knew how to, like, light a fire or make a flame or anything.
Okay.
And so some of the sky world people would come down to Earth occasionally to hunt possums with their fire sticks, and they would make like a big ass fire, and then a bunch of tribes could use it to take back to their own campgrounds.
Oh, it's like the Prometheus story.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Devil's Pool. So I guess it's at Babinda Boulders near Cairns. And so it became known as this because of a runaway bride named Ulana who jumped into the waters when she was separated from her would-be husband, and she died.
Aww.
The indigenous legend says that she's been luring men into the waters ever since, and she's claimed 17 lives since 1959, and now it's fenced off with the, quote, eerie epitaph, "He came for a visit and stayed forever." Which I kind of fucking love in a really fucked up kind of way.
Yeah.
It's twisty. Me gusta. Okay. Then there's the rainbow serpent, and this legend is the, quote, quintessential dreaming story. And I guess it's one of the most widely known. So there are a bunch of different variations based on region. And the common thread is that a giant-ass snake sleeps under the Earth's surface until it comes out of the ground to wake up different, like, animal groups and travel through the area, forging lakes, valleys, hills, rivers, and the land that was previously undeveloped or whatever. The eagle, hawk, and the crow. Oh, fuck. This Ngiampa story from western New South Wales started with the eagle hawk asking his neighbor the crow to look after his kid while he went hunting, but the crow was shit at babysitting, and so he bludgeoned the child to death when it wouldn't stop crying. Yeah, it's rough. And so the eagle hawk was looking for revenge, of course, and it chased the crow into the bush. Then it set it on fire to try and, like, kill the crow, but the crow flew away, but not before it had been charred black.
Oh.
Black, fade black. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so why the crocodile rolls? On the north coast of Western Australia, there was a woman named Minawi, and she was really unhappy. She would always start trouble, so she was like the little Loki of her tribe. And got in a huge fight one day, and a man grabbed her, because fuck you, fucking patriarchy, son of a bitch, and rolled her around in the dirt to restrain her. And so she got pissed off, because same bitch, and she was like, I'm gonna get revenge on your ass. And so she turned into a crocodile and waded in the water to give him a taste of his own medicine. And so that's why crocodiles roll their prey, allegedly.
So, weird story, I guess. When I was little, I'd always like to like do the little like sideways roll in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
often.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was just like a thing that I would just like roll over and just like spin around. And my parents were like, why are you doing the crocodile roll? And I was like 8, and I had no idea what crocodiles did in the water. I was just like, what's the difference between an alligator and a crocodile anyway?
Still. Mostly.
Location.
Yeah.
And their nose shape.
Yeah.
No shape.
Yeah.
Steve Irwin taught me that.
Yeah.
Internal, external teeth.
Yeah.
I knew
I knew the nose and the teeth bit.
Yeah. But no, like my parents would like look at me weird and they're like, what are you doing? For like doing this little crocodile roll in the water. I was like, it's fun.
I don't know, I'm a weird child. What the fuck do you want from me?
I was
I was weird as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not judging anybody.
I was a weird child. I would sit at our tables and bark at people if I didn't like what they were doing.
I hissed
welcome.
at people, so I get it.
That too.
We don't people. We just don't.
This is why we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The emu and the jabiru. What was that about?
I don't like emus.
Okay. Well, in the Arnhem land in the Northern Territory,
Got a vendetta.
Mine are with ostrich.
there was a
It's both of them. They're too
feisty
similar.
family feud. They are similar. So they were hunting some stingray, and Ganji and his kids returned to camp to share the meat with Werpan and his family. But Ganji hid away all the best pieces for himself, and Werpan was pissed. So they began to fight with spears and hot coals and rocks, because that's how I fucking fight.
Hot coals, you have to touch them to throw them.
Not necessarily.
You could shovel, like, fling it.
Yeah.
No, they've got those little fireplace clampy bits. Come on,
You can
guys.
make, like, a coal trebuchet.
But Ganji
I was
flew
thinking
away.
of like the little like the tennis ball like throwers that they have.
like the
A trebuchet.
Yeah.
Or
But not quite as intense.
they have, like, there's an Australian word for it. There's, like, an Australian, weapon.
Yeah.
That, like, it's like a, like, tennis ball thrower for your dog now.
Yeah. But for flinging hot coals at people, apparently.
Yeah,
Probably
sure.
did, let's be
Cool.
honest. But Ganji flew away and turned into a jabiru, which is apparently a stork, and Werpan transformed into an emu. Like, I'm so pissed, I'm gonna turn into a fucking bird, bitches.
Emus are devilish, though.
You right, I know. They like attacked our car
hate
at
them.
the fucking San Antonio drive-thru thingy mabob.
If a bird is larger than me, it's too fucking big. Be smaller, you weirdo.
Be smaller, you weirdo. Okay, I'm almost done. I have like 3 thingies left. So the Uluru was apparently a rock that carried spiritual significance to the local Anangu people. There were cultural ceremonies that took place there for more than 10,000 years. But the legend surrounding it has to do with visitors. So the Anangu said that they're inundated with packages loaded with rocks that, like Hawaii, like Honolulu, that visitors took from Uluru and then sent back because they were cursed.
Yeah.
Because they took. So quit stealing shit from places, motherfuckers.
Mother Nature will reclaim you.
Hell yeah. She a vengeful bitch like me. Okay.
That's why she's Mother Earth.
Yeah. So the Moldjawonk.
What was that?
There are a lot of fucking consonants in this bitch. It's like 90% consonants. There are 3 vowels. And it's like fucking 5 syllables.
It's like Welsh.
Well, oh my god, the
Welsh is
the
crazy.
Gwillier,
New South Wales and Whales both have crazy languages.
Remember from London when I said the Gwilgi?
Yes. Did you ever learn how that was actually pronounced?
Nope. Sorry,
Okay.
whales.
Have you seen the video? Where it's the longest...
She just said
No. She knows what I'm talking about. There's
Yeah.
this video, it's a weatherman. And it's the longest town name in the world, and it's like 47 syllables.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's going to be a little rainy. And they're like, what? It's amazing.
I thought I was having like a stroke or something.
No,
like,
just me.
For real though, because that wasn't words.
No, it was me satirizing a Welsh name of a city.
Okay, I was concerned. Okay, so that thing that I just said that I'm never saying again comes from Australian Aboriginal lore. So it's huge and super intimidating and has a thirst for vengeance. So it lives in the water, especially in like the Murray River in South Australia, and it's like a half man, half fish creature. It has huge hands that are strong and large enough to disrupt ships. So it's like Poseidon.
Huh.
They don't know if it's like one creature or like
Multiple,
it is
like
legion. It is legion.
Sure.
But
Oh, dang, I'm so hungry.
it's told to kids. And I don't know.
I found the video.
There's a steamboat carrying a bunch of European passengers, you fucking interlopers. And there were some Aboriginal elders on the ship on the Murray River, and the creature's scaly clawed hands came out of the water. Did I say scaly?
You did.
Yes.
Okay, I thought I said
Scaly
curly.
and
I
clawed.
thought I said curly.
Also, I found the video.
Oh,
I almost done.
Okay, I'm saying, like, whenever
Okay.
you're done, we're going to watch this.
Okay.
And then I'm going to pour more wine.
But he's okay. He went to take a hold of the ship, and the captain practically shit himself and started
As
shooting.
one would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The elders begged him to stop, but he wouldn't because he was too busy shitting himself and shooting. And the creature let go of the boat and went off to the depths, but I guess several days later, the captain fell inexplicably ill. He got blisters all over his skin, and his body was like raw, and he died in total fucking agony.
Oh.
No cure or explanation of the disease 6 months later. Apparently the brute strength and scary ass look of the thing that I'm not going to say killed him. And then the last thing is the Yowie, which is kind of like a...
Yowie.
I almost said Sassenach. Not Outlander, guys.
Sasquatch?
Yes, Sasquatch.
Sasnick.
Sasquatch. Can someone please draw a Sasquatch in her dress? It's me. Amazing.
It's me when I don't shave for 2 fucking days.
Yeah.
Oh, before my friend's wedding, I didn't shave for 2 weeks because I got a sunburn on my legs, so I
hate
couldn't. And I literally had to go get my toes done for it because, yeah. And I literally looked at the lady. I was like, I am so sorry. I got a sunburn on my legs and I haven't been able to shave. And she's like, it's fine. It's fine. And I was like, it's not fine though. I know you're judging me.
And then they do guys' legs, which are typically hairy.
Yeah, but I'm a woman.
But women judge
And-
women, bitches.
Yeah.
I just like it when they wear gloves. So if that means I have to have hairy legs for them to wear gloves, I'll do it.
See, she wore
Like, don't-
gloves for part of it.
Like, don't touch my feet. Like, I appreciate.
You're also weird with feet though.
Remember when
I'm
your
very
toe
weird with
touched
feet.
the rim of her
Disgusting.
She's like,
Wash
Zach,
it.
wipe it off, wipe it off, wipe it off.
Gross.
Okay, so the Yowie, an ancient tribe of hairy people. So they're Sasquatch-like. But there are 2 different types. One is 6 to 10 feet tall and up to 1,000 pounds, but they're supposed to be more aggressive than a Sasquatch. And then the other type is like 4 to 5 feet tall, and they're believed to be an ancient hominid species that has not gone extinct.
Oh.
I did.
All right. Here's our nice Shiraz crack.
Whoop, whoop.
There we go. That wasn't as good as the first one.
Nice crack, mate.
It had a pop afterwards. Like, it had like a little kickback.
It-
So Brie and I like to message each other as we're doing our notes. And so she said... She said, I'm a millennial for fuck's sake.
Because we were talking about how Drive doesn't have fucking emojis, and I was like, get your shit together, Drive. I need my fucking emojis to properly express myself. I am a millennial for fuck's sake.
I just made my Bitmoji classroom. So
Yeah.
speaking of millennials, my kids are gonna roll their eyes so hard. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh, my Bitmojis are on everything. Like, if I can add a Bitmoji, I have a Bitmoji. And it's usually the ones that are like, what?
Yeah.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
They're cuter than me in real life. So
Yeah, I don't want to put a
use that
selfie on
shit.
something when I can use my Bitmoji.
No.
Right. Like, you don't need to see my face. Here's a cartoon version of me without acne. It's fine. All right. So, now on to some fucked up shit. So,
Okay.
in Bedlam Point, on the northern banks of the Parramatta
Nothing called
River.
Bedlam is ever good.
Literally the point
That's
I made
literally
in the
what Bree said last
night.
That sounded weird. Never mind. Thank you. But it's about a 15-minute drive or a 10-kilometer drive, because we're from Texas. We gauge everything in minutes.
Yeah.
From the heart of Sydney is the shell of the Gladesville Mental Hospital. So, Gladesville initially opened in 1838 by Joseph Thomas Digby as the...
Digby! That's the name of the dog from Pushing Daisies!
Well, he's not the bad guy.
Perfect, so I can still name my dog Digby from Pushing
Right.
Daisies.
That's why I wanted to...
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. He opened it as the Tarbin Creek Lunatic Asylum, and it was Sydney's first psychiatric hospital. Their initial intent was for it to be a friendly facility where the doctors were to befriend their patients, to rehabilitate them, help them integrate, and then release them back into society.
Aw, that sounds like a noble cause.
So, like, doctors helping people?
Right.
Whoa.
However...
Calm down there, radicals.
I was literally thinking
Yeah.
about this today. I was like, psych wards fucking suck, man. And, like, imagine...
I thought you said cyborgs.
Psych wards, too. I
Did
mean,
you see my face?
shit.
I was like, are we blaming them for not having human emotions? Because they're half human, Brie. Don't be like that. Did you see my face? I was like,
No.
Well, I think you're about to make the point that I'm going to make.
Okay, sorry, I'll shut up.
No. I was saying
cyborgs are
continue on.
people too.
Okay, that was not my point. My point was, if you isolate people for so long, they don't integrate back into society.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I was thinking how much more benefit. This is what I was thinking about at work when I was.
Well, it's all
bored
gonna get
out of
fucked
my
up anyways.
Fucking skull.
It's all
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
get-
I mean,
I looked for drama therapy
I'm
PhD
telling the
programs
story,
today. I'm ready,
so-
so I'm all about the therapy. Continue.
So it didn't go well, if you can see where this is headed.
Sure.
'Cause, So the asylum was built to hold 60 patients, but by 1844, only 6 years after its opening, the asylum held 148.
Oh.
So over double capacity.
Well, and at that time, psych wards weren't just for mental
I'm getting there.
illnesses. Yeah.
Also, the asylum was allegedly built on more than 100 anonymous graves, so that really didn't start
They
things
built
off well.
an insane asylum on top of an ancient Indian burial ground. That is the worst idea I've ever heard.
Yep.
Yep. So another part of the problem was that the asylum was for those who were legitimately mentally ill, whether
Sure.
depression, schizophrenia, anxiety, or those who are experiencing domestic abuse, just to name a couple.
Yeah.
However,
Wait. Those who are experiencing domestic abuse.
they could
So, like,
seek
PTSD,
asylum.
yeah.
Yeah.
and-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they could go there to have shelter, to,
Okay.
I
I thought you were saying like they were considered mentally ill. I'm like, fuck.
No, as a haven
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
However, it also accepted those who were deemed lunatics because of domestic trouble, religious excitement, love.
So, fucking fanatics,
Hey, that's half of America right now.
right?
Love affairs and seduction, nostalgia,
Unwed mothers.
sunstroke, overwork, and sexual incompetence. Not unwed mothers.
No?
Incompetence.
Incompetence.
So not sexual, quote, deviancy, unquote.
No, but like,
Can't get it up.
yep.
Huh.
I meant that's a. I guess that could be a mental illness, but normally it's a physical illness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's something that's, quote unquote, not working with the body.
Lock them up.
Honestly.
As I sip my wine. Of course, once the patients were admitted, they couldn't really get out because the doctors could simply say that they were still crazy and
Unfit.
keep them there.
Well, fuck.
Well, if they're double capacity, you think you want to send some of those
Honestly.
sunstroke people home.
Oh.
Have some aloe and water. Bye.
Oh, we're getting there. So, complaints were written off as delusion or insanity.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
And of course, there was need for complaints.
Always.
Eventually, the asylum took a turn, and the intent to reform was lost.
Mm-hmm.
The conditions were horrible for the patients.
I was about to say, were there crunchy floors again from the bugs, damn it?
No.
Okay.
Many described it as prison-like, with inadequate diets and an overcrowding problem, obviously with the over double capacity. And they just couldn't keep up with the food. Patients reported physical and sexual abuse in addition to violent shock treatments
Fuckers.
that left them with severe burns on their heads.
God damn it.
No.
There's
Plus the trauma of dealing with that.
I fucking
Yeah.
hate people
Aw.
so much.
There was a case in 1843 where 2 male, quote, convict keepers.
Jesus.
They called them convict
Security?
keepers, so orderlies or nurses.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I didn't have medical training, so orderlies or hospital security.
Yeah, I thought it was just like security.
Yeah,
Routinely sexually abused several female patients.
lovely.
Bite it off. Bite it the fuck
I'm
off.
going to talk
God
about biting it
damn
off in just a minute.
Heyo. A
Hold
quote
on, Lorraine
from
Bob at that hoe with my teeth.
Don't talk about her yet. I
uh,
have a tie-in.
Oh, okay.
a quote from Daily Telegraph. Quote, nurses referred to the shock treatment as, another quote, being put in the Bunurong, end quote.
What?
A reference to the now closed Bunurong Power Station at Materville.
Jesus.
Another 1954 report accused staff of burning the head of one female patient after zapping her with too many electric shock treatments.
God.
So electric shock is very, very controversial.
Yeah.
There are some modern applications that have proven to help people,
Yeah.
but it's a last resort. Like, there's no brain activity. Let's see if we can stimulate something to try and save their existence.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Well,
not
that
like
was just
that.
the first half of the quote. So, continuing on with it, while perfectly sane, only suffering from depression and too many sleeping tablets, she was subjected to so much violent shock treatment, which frightens her so badly. Like the others, she tried to resist. But yeah, this poor woman. And then, continuing the quote from Daily Telegraph about this newspaper on these abuses, on one occasion, 3 men patients were brought in and nearly strangled her, tearing her clothes badly. She was later thrown in the refractory block and is there at present, forced to sleep in a straitjacket at night, the same as others in that part, many times strapped to a seat in the daytime. So this woman was abused.
For having clinical depression.
Right. And so that last, like the second half of that was a quote from the Daily Telegraph quoting a newspaper article from 1954. And so, like, they were reporting this in the news. People knew about it.
And she was still tied to a chair.
And she was still in a straitjacket at night and tied to a chair.
Lovely.
Yeah. So a medical board of inquiry began an investigation involving the deaths of 2 patients at the asylum on July 1st, 1850. Sorry to jump back and forth. It just with how my sources word, it made ties in. Yeah. So jumping back to 1850. According to Dr. Terrence Smith, who wrote in a 2005 University of Western Sydney study that, quote, in this instance, on May 23rd, 1849, a maniacal patient fractured the skull of another patient with a chamber pot. The injured patient died 6 or 7 weeks later.
Ooh.
The Medical Board of Inquiry's report laid the blame for the deaths of the 2 patients squarely on the conditions of the asylum. Another serious incident occurred during 1843 when it was discovered 2 of the male convict keepers, again, were sexually abusing female patients, which resulted in the keeper's imprisonment on Cockatoo Island. So that's what I mentioned earlier. Cockatoo Island is also fucked up, but I didn't want to delve in there because I already had so much.
Were they castrated? They should have been castrated.
No.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I think we should castrate rapists. Just saying.
I mean,
If they used to castrate gay men in consensual adult
Thank
relationships.
you. Thank you. This has been my point for fucking years.
yeah. I have lots of thoughts on that topic,
Oh,
but
I'll shut up for now.
yeah, we can just have like a rant session on that. Okay, so Frederick Norton Manning knew that he would eventually take over the asylum, so he spent several years studying how they should work and the methods of care for patients. He and I cannot, Digsby, I can't remember his first name, but they worked close together, and Manning knew that he would eventually take over as the superintendent of the asylum. And so he spent years going around studying, like trying to find the best methods of care for these patients.
What I want to know is how, like, I know this happens, but how do you start off for Digsby with such honorable intentions and let it go to such shit?
Doing
Like,
the right thing is hard.
I know.
Well,
I understand
and-
that in the best laid plans of mice and men. I get it. But still, like, fuck's sake. That is extreme.
Literally look at where we're at right now.
You're right.
Anyway, on October 15th, 1868, he took over as superintendent of the asylum and immediately made note of the poor conditions. And so, you know, these poor conditions have been going on for years. And so finally he came in and just, you know, made note of all of it and trying to make reform. And the following year, he changed the name to Hospital for the Insane, Gladesville, modernized the facilities, and added, quote, an asylum for imbeciles.
Ugh.
Yep.
Yikes.
Yeah. Once that was completed, he worked to minimize the use of restraints on the patients. Of course, this could have led to the non-patient deaths that happened on the property. In 1884, senior attendant Robert Colvin, Colvin, Colvin.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
not Calvin. Colvin. But he was kicked in the abdomen by a patient and died of peritonitis, which is the inflammation of membrane lining the abdominal wall and covering the abdominal organs, and is typically fatal.
Sure.
And then in 1889...
Broke my hearing.
Oh no,
I thought I heard that snap.
I was talking too loud.
Am I talking too loud?
Sometimes I get overexcited.
Shoot off at the mouth.
Us on this podcast.
Hamilton. Every day.
Honestly, though.
The entire premise of this podcast.
I know. We're just some loudmouth bitches who got a lot to say.
Do you hear it?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
put my earring on the chair and it just rolled away. It went and kept rolling.
I'm Hercules Mulligan. I love that part.
I am Hercules Mulligan.
Up
Oh my
in
God,
it,
he's
love
so
in
cute.
it. Yes,
His
I
little
heard your
hat.
mother say, "Come again." I love it.
Lock up your daughters and horses. Of course, it's hard to have intercourse over 4 sets of corsets.
Wow, no more sex. Call me another brute, son.
To the revolution.
Shut. Okay.
Go, Carrie, wait for you to cut us off. I'll do
Yeah.
the whole song.
As y'all breathe, I'm going to interject with, in 1889, attendant Hubert Small, a patient beat him with a broom, fractured his skull, and he died.
Damn,
Okay,
that's rough.
well.
Yep,
did
there
he
you go.
deserve it?
I know. That's been my question from the start. She's like, non-patient murders. I'm like, but what did they do though?
Yeah, see, this
Did he
is just...
was he trying to assault someone and they beat him to death with a broom? Because I could see that happening.
Break that broom off up your ass, motherfucker.
Woo, okay. The hospital was sold again in 1888 and renamed in 1915 to be the Gladesville Mental Hospital. In 1997, the asylum finally closed after 160 years of operation. Throughout its time as an asylum, families would refuse to pick up their relatives' dead bodies, or
So bad, but
or the patient would have no relatives or friends to contact about their death.
Oh,
So in its time operating, it accumulated approximately 1,228 bodies belonging to anonymous patients
That is
who were buried in a
heartbreaking.
mass grave under the asylum.
That's
is
so sad.
heartbreaking.
that was pretty common though.
Yeah, but
Eve-
still so fucking sad.
Eventually, just over 900 of them were identified. So at least some of them were...
It sounds like most of them.
Yeah.
That's
They
good.
were at least given their name.
Yeah.
Right. There are only 4 graves on the site, though, and 2 of them were staff.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were the 2 staff that I mentioned,
Probably the
but...
dude that got brained and the one that got kicked in the guts.
Yeah. But I mean, if you do have someone legitimately mentally ill, having some sort of manic attack, someone's trying to restrain them, make them do something they don't want to do, they could,
Yeah.
easily kick somebody or grab the
Oh, yeah.
closest. Yeah.
Yeah, I meant severely mentally ill patients often see things differently than we do, and so
Yeah.
sometimes that results in violence towards
Yeah.
people, but
Right.
you have to properly train your medical staff and be taking care of your patients, and then that can hopefully be avoided.
Right. So, obviously, this place is haunted. There are no
course.
As balls.
there are no specific ghosts.
Just spooky all around.
Right, but people have reported seeing apparitions and sensed heavy presences.
Well, I mean, fuck, it was fucking built on a burial ground, and then they had like 1,000 more unidentified fucking...
Well, it started haunted.
Yeah.
I mean,
Balls,
who knows if some
man.
of these mentally ill patients were seeing ghosts.
I'm sure. Shit.
Because,
Just like
yeah.
cats.
yeah. However, one notable ghostly experience at Gladesville Mental Asylum is a specific photograph titled Ghosts, taken by photographer
Creative.
Yvette Warb.
We're assholes.
I'm sorry. I'm so grumpy.
Love it. Because I would have made that comment if you had it.
I'm going to show you the picture and you can see if it's clever. It was taken by photographer Yvette Warboys. And according to one interview, quote, ooh, my Google's messing up. Google, get better.
Yeah, Google, get fucking emojis.
Yeah,
bitches.
come on, Google.
Nah. Google makes emojis because they're listening to us.
You're
You're welcome, world.
Quote, there is quite a presence and energy there. Mediums have looked at the image and seen a presence there. She said the mediums were drawn to one photo in particular of a doorway covered in vines where they identified a strong presence to the left of the door. I have the picture.
As a self-proclaimed psychic, let me see this.
I'm going to pull
I'll
it
tell
up.
you what I feel.
I have a psychic story to tell you guys after the pod.
Okay,
God.
so I'm going to let them look at it.
I ironically say I'm
This is the
a
photo.
psychic, but I actually think I'm a psychic, so.
Okay.
Do you
You're
see
going to have
anything?
to text it to me, Carrie. I'm not moving.
Ish.
I'll let you know.
I'm going to download this cursed image to my phone just so you
Text
can
it
look
to
at
me.
it.
This cursed image.
Text it.
If I'm fucked, y'all are all fucked.
You could airdrop it.
I'm sorry, I have a good phone.
Bye.
A good phone that can't airdrop?
What she said. Don't
Bree
sit-
could airdrop me
I don't
something.
have a cult
I couldn't.
following.
Yeah, cults typically are around charismatic leaders, so at least my phone has that going
Your
for it.
charismatic leader died.
My phone is my charismatic leader.
Oh, shit.
Are they talking about the Christmas tree?
No.
Okay, but again, we had this conversation like last weekend. I don't know if I saw it because you told me I was supposed to see it,
Right. And so
or because I actually saw it.
I like half stopped myself. I don't know if you caught me. I was like,
Yeah.
because like I can kind of see something.
Uh-huh. It almost is like a not something that should
It's a
be there that's
disruption.
missing. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Kind
a
of.
disruption.
Yeah.
An
It's
atmosphere
like a shape. Yeah, but not a
disruption.
shape. Exactly.
next to the Christmas tree, in between the Christmas tree and the door.
Yeah. And so I don't know. Yeah. So we can post that on the blog.
Remind
wait,
me to
no.
do that because I never.
What's
remember.
Marley's first name in A Christmas Carol? I was gonna do that.
Bob.
No, it's not. I said Bob. That was wrong.
I know it's not.
Bob
But
Marley.
it's funny.
If Bob Marley was a ghost, he'd be so chill.
Oh my god.
Not that Marley. Two different Marley ghosts.
What was
I don't know.
Marley's name? Damn it.
I can let y'all think about it as I wrap this up.
Richard Marley.
Not Richard.
Could have been.
It's not Richard.
Anyway, so in modern times, it's a hollow shell of the horrors that took place. The walls are covered in graffiti. One of the most iconic photos of the Gladesville Mental Hospital is a singular hospital bed with "help" written above it in spray paint on the
my
wall.
Oh
God.
God, that's sad.
Okay,
That is so
that also
sad.
could have been some punk ass kids
Well,
writing
yeah,
it.
but
So sad. Could have been a ghost too. He was like, "Oh my God, I'll talk to you this way, you uncultured human
Ha!
with no interdimensional feelings."
No.
Well, I will continue
Prerequisite,
on with
must
this.
have interdimensional feelings.
Right.
To follow this podcast. Just kidding. We're taking anyone.
Please give us money.
I meant follow us, but that too.
Or just listen, and we'll take other
Give
people's
us your
monies.
money. That's Avenue Q too.
Oh man, I like totally blanked on the next line, but I really wanted to remember it. Anyway, fun fact: it's where the horror film Ravenswood was filmed. While the film crew was shooting here, a cast member had something whisper in his ear, and he vowed to never return to the site, saying, "quote I'm talking here."
It's fine. We just whispered in the microphone. Talking to the microphone. Okay.
Yes, but you're interrupting the listeners.
I did it earlier, Carrie.
Shut up when I'm talking, Brie. I'm gonna restart my fun fact. Because y'all are being assholes.
You did it to us earlier.
In a break as you were breathing. Fun fact. It's where the horror film Ravenswood was filmed. Period. When the film crew was once shooting here, the horror... What?
What? In the butt?
I don't know what I just read. Apparently I was having an aneurysm as I was typing this. Well, the film crew was here shooting the flick. Okay.
Oof.
Film crew on site.
Uh-huh.
A cast member heard something whisper in his ear, and he vowed to never return, saying, quote, "You guys don't understand what you're dealing with," end quote.
Can I interject with a story about a mental hospital?
You may.
So in Allentown, right where I was born and where I grew up, which was a terrifying place, I was literally chased by a murderer there. Different story. But, wow, that probably impacted my life. I was young. I remember that.
Maybe.
Interesting. Don't go to the reservoir. Anyways, they have a state hospital, a state mental hospital, and they're actually shutting it down, but it's been in operation for a really long time, and it's like the only pretty building in Allentown, but it's so haunted. And they filmed, what's the movie with James McAvoy? Glass?
Sure.
Glass.
Oh.
I don't know.
It's one of those. Like, Mr. Glass is in it. Split.
Yeah!
They
Oh my
filmed
god,
it
that
there.
movie is
They
fucked.
film it there, and because they have a whole secret tunnel system underground, and they're about to shut it down, and Allentown's about to get even more scary, because all those ghosts are going to go all over the place.
But like,
Yeah.
I kind of want to see it, but I'm also like shit myself scared. But I kind
my
of
parents' first apartment that was owned by the mafia is right next door.
I was
Didn't
gonna
hear
say
nothing.
Oh.
From me, I ain't no snitch.
I know. Snitch.
Snitches get stitches.
His name was Jacob, by the way.
Jacob Marley.
All right, so to wrap up my segment,
I'm so excited for Christmas.
Me.
I just want cooler weather.
I
Weather?
want chestnuts roasted. I actually had roasted chestnuts. They were good.
They're like a street
Yeah.
food in a lot of places.
In Italy, but I never got to try them in Italy. So Aunt
Aw.
Connie, when I moved back, bought me some chestnuts so I could roast them.
Oh, I bet you the Italian ones were better.
I'm sure. Fuck
Yeah.
you, asshole.
I just want to acknowledge that Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
Carrie, we know nobody cares about Thanksgiving, but yo,
It's literally
love
my
Thanksgiving.
birthday, and I could care less.
Just kidding. I care.
I do
because
like pie.
it's in fall.
I care about pie.
too. I make good pie. Grandma taught me how to make good pie. She used
You're
to work
bringing
in
the
a
pie
bakery.
this year.
To Friendsgiving.
I'm bringing multiple pies this year.
Oh my god,
Good.
Friendsgiving is so fun.
And potatoes, because I love
Potatoes.
potatoes.
Gonna
Well,
make a
Zach's
side of
company
potatoes.
gives us gift cards every Thanksgiving to Honey Baked Ham. Honey Baked Ham, please sponsor us. I'm over here getting money.
Honey Baked Ham is listening.
Honey Baked Ham, please.
We think everyone's
sponsor us.
listening. We have like 5 followers. Just kidding. But it goes up on the weekends and it goes back down on Monday.
Aw.
I meant me too. I
Yeah.
don't have time during the week.
Honestly. Except at work.
But no, so we have like $75 worth of Honey Baked Ham gift cards.
Nice.
So we're just gonna keep buying Honey Baked Ham items for
Those are some
Thanksgiving.
good ass. That's good shit. We
Well,
used
they
to
have-
provide those to our like vendors and customers and shit. It's
They
good.
have really good sides.
Oh yeah.
Like they have the take and bake sides. Quality.
I made my turkey for the first time last year, and I was very proud of it. I made it in the crock pot, and I was really proud.
Ooh, I've never made a turkey.
It
But
was
I'm
my
not
first
that big
time.
of a fan of turkey.
It was pretty
Yeah.
good.
It was good.
I was proud.
I'm really picky with my turkey. Anyways, my final fun fact, so I can wrap this up and we can continue talking about turkey. There is an amazing article by the Sydney Morning Herald about a woman who's a schizophrenic and was held there before it closed.
Oh, poor woman.
And she talks about her experience there, and it is amazing.
Harrowing.
I wish I could have just.
choice.
What was that?
I said nice word choice.
Thank you.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like, seriously, please go read it. It's going to be in the links.
Cool. I might actually have to look into that.
I think, no, I didn't include it underneath it, but I mean, I honestly probably could have talked about just her portion for the entire story. I mean, it was insightful, and she talked about a lot of things there that, you know, I touched on, but, you know, there's a lot more to the history to it that I wanted to really bring in. But, I mean, it's very eye-opening to some of the treatment that these people received.
Oh,
So sad.
So, yeah, that's the Gladesville Mental Hospital.
Well, thanks for
And
thoroughly depressing us.
And the creepy vibes that you can get from a hollow shell of a horrific place.
Oof. Good line. Well done, Carrie. That
Thank
deserves
you.
a high five, except I always miss. But we're gonna pretend.
It's okay. I have my wine. I'm like propping up my mic on my
Mine's
boob.
gone.
Same.
I have
That's okay.
like a sip left.
Because
and
we are going to talk about John Wayne.
Okay, we're...
John Wayne.
Not that John Wayne.
That was a horrible accent, so I'm really
Yeah.
proud that you understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of got it.
Fuck you.
And not John Wayne Bobbitt, who had his pee-pee cut off.
Deserved
Ouch.
it. Fucker.
Nor John Wayne Gacy,
Ooh.
who we'll probably cover later.
We
We're
should
gonna
cover John Wayne Gacy.
talk about John Wayne Glover. The point of the story is do not name your child John Wayne.
No
Yeah.
shit.
Before we get started
Except,
talking
like,
about...
John Wayne.
So, we'll talk about John Wayne Glover,
Lover.
the aptly named
Oh.
Granny Killer.
Yeah, that's why I said,
Oh, no.
We'll talk about him in a minute, but first I have a true crime update that I just recently found out, even though it happened in July.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. What?
Sorry, my cat is scratching my chair and I had to stop her because she's rude.
And she sulks
Mary, not Mary, is it Mary Kay?
Mm-hmm.
Mary Kay Letourneau recently passed away from breast cancer,
Yep.
which is a bummer because breast cancer sucks, but also she continuously raped one of her young students. So,
Rape sucks too, motherfuckers.
Yeah, so Mary Kay Letourneau is unfortunately
Did you just
passed
spill
away.
on yourself, Brie?
It's
But
on my tit. It's fine.
Unfortunately fortunately, but it's never a good thing someone dies. But I meant she was still with her student,
Yeah.
Didn't she have, like,
And-
children?
2 children.
Yeah.
Horrifying,
And as
disgusting.
a teacher, I literally want to vomit at
I
the
hate
thought
it.
of, like,
How dare she?
even, like, remotely thinking about one of my students that way, because that's just revolting.
My little brother, who is still in school, last year showed me a picture of one of his fucking teachers. I don't know if it was Instagram, Facebook. I don't fucking know. Like, scantily clad, like, thong-clad ass with, like, a schoolgirl skirt wrapped up around her waist, like, laying down on her stomach with her cleavage tits poking out, and, like,
What the
ass
fuck?
poked up in the air. And, like, I don't know if she sent these to students or if they were able to find them. I can't remember. He told me, I can't remember, but it was easily accessible by her students. My little brother showed me, and he's like, oh, and I'm like, nah, motherfucker, this ain't okay.
No. That's how
Yeah.
you get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as someone who has had to put their social media on strict lockdown, because I've had students trying to, like, get into my social media, which I don't even post bad stuff. It's just mainly me drinking, because I socially drink. And I
Other
post...
than me drinking.
The worst thing I post
Yeah.
is this podcast.
Right.
100%.
And that's because I say fuck a lot.
Well, and, you know, I drink socially, and I post when I do things socially. No one needs to know about the really good shit I just had.
The North Texas Wine Trail.
Shut up.
Okay.
We can't be too specific with our location. I mean, technically, North Texas Wine Trail spans from North Dallas to South Dallas all the way over to Fort Worth area,
Oh my god.
but still.
Sorry.
And
John
I may have been to most of
Wayne
them.
Glover.
Anyway,
So John Wayne Glover was born 2 days before my birthday, which is November
The
26th. In
Cool. We're just sharing all of our fucking information now, Catherine.
Didn't say
Did
what
I say
year.
year? Shut up.
He was born in 1932.
That's to me. Like, I need to shut up because I kept repeating, like, saying everything she was saying at the same time. I was like,
I was like, what? That's a fair fucking point.
no, like, we're on the same wavelength.
To
and
be
it's
fair,
freaking me
he's
out.
from England and later moved to Australia.
He's a Brit.
So he is not Australian, but he is an English Australian because he gained citizenship.
Interloper.
And he's a prisoner, apparently.
Well, now he is.
Hey-o.
Well, not anymore. He was convicted of the murders of 6 elderly women, and
Aw.
all of them were over the age of 60.
That's
The
fucked
oldest
up.
one was 93 years old.
Stop.
if you live to be 93, you deserve to live however long you want.
Yeah.
Right.
No one
Yeah.
gets to take that away from you.
You lived enough, you get to decide.
I mean,
And they
nobody
were all
deserves
little-
to be raped, but
little
also-
Or
old
killed.
lady widows. And it was over a short period of time, just a little bit over a year, in 89 through 90. One of the women that he murdered, and I'm not saying she's more important than the other women, but she was a lady. She was the widow of the English Australian Impressionist painter Sir Will Ashton.
Oh, damn.
So a lot of these women were affluent widows living on their own, and they were in advanced ages, and it wasn't even like robbery motivated, which makes it somehow worse.
Right.
Like, it's not like he just picked cute little old ladies who were wealthy to kill them because they had money.
No,
that was
he
not his
picked
driving
them
force.
for fucking.
Yeah. So this is technically in the suburbs, on the north shore of Sydney,
Yeah.
where this took place, and some of them were as close as just a street apart.
Yeah.
But it is a typically nicer, and it seemed to have a lot of elderly
It's
residents.
probably in the CBD-ish area, like the old, not the CBD. There's an old area that has like fucking centuries old houses that are like hella bougie.
Yeah, it's really pretty. And
Wanna go
so,
see them.
yeah, in the North Shore area. And he earned the nickname the Granny Killer, which is not the Nanny Killers, which is a different case.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the one I heard about.
Yeah, so this
Did
is the Nanny Killer, like British grandma. And so, or Granny Killer.
Okay,
British grandma or
Yeah.
Australian grandma. And he was arrested in 1990. He admitted to these murders, and he was sentenced to consecutive terms of life imprisonment. And they actually put a thing on his file that said he can never be let out. He will immediately start doing this again.
Good.
I am going
Thank
to give
you.
you a trigger warning that there is suicide involved in this case. Not suicide in the traditional mental illness suicide in the fact that I can't face the reality of what I've done kind of way.
Yeah.
So he died by committing suicide by hanging himself in 2005. So he was in prison for a long time, and he was on suicide watch for years and years and years. So
Oh, really?
the Australian, because he tried to commit suicide twice before he was imprisoned. Both times when they found information, he tried to commit suicide. And
So when they found more information, he.
yeah, well, the one time he literally, I'll get there.
Okay, sorry.
But this was his third and final suicide attempt. But the Australian police constantly supervised him until literally years and years and years. Like, they thought like they were trying their best, and they did save his life twice. He's from Wolverhampton, which is not far from where I studied abroad in England. He died at 72, so he committed suicide at
Wow.
72 in New South Wales.
Yeah.
They also called him the monster of Mossman, which was the area of town that he started with. And he got a life sentence for all 6 of the confirmed cases. There was also many sexual assaults and a few other murder cases that they think could be tied to him, but he only admitted to these 6, but at least these 6 women got their justice, and
Yeah.
he was not to be
Yeah.
released ever from prison. They think he killed up to 13 people, and that's not including the sexual assaults he carried
Oh.
out. So he was from a working class family. In England, he got in trouble a lot, like with petty crimes, which is very common in serial sexual assaulters. Sexual assaulters? What is that word?
If you're a serial rapist, they'll say
Yeah.
it like that.
Well, so he was sexually assaulting. He wasn't
Yeah.
raping his
Yeah.
victims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Impotent, we're pretty sure, so that explains why he wasn't raping them, but was
Yeah.
sexually assaulting these little old
He
ladies.
could have been in a
It's-
mental asylum.
Yeah. He literally, okay, he's horrible. But anyways, so
Sorry.
poor family joined the army, which is actually what the Australian police profiled. They had did some really great police work, and I'll explain it. So they thought he was from the army because he would organize their shoes and their walking sticks very neatly next to their bodies.
Interesting.
And so they thought he was in the military, and he was in the British military, but they checked all Australian military records and couldn't find anyone because he was in the British military, but he was
Right.
dishonorably discharged when they found out about his petty crimes.
Makes sense.
Because he lied. So he moved there with no qualifications. He eventually got a job selling pies, like meat pies, and that ties
Ooh.
in. He got done.
Never trust
The
someone
West
who
Pie.
I
sells
know.
fucking meat pies.
So he,
damn it.
So he sold pies, and he did a morning route, and so he got done at 3. So they initially thought it may have been like a school-age student who was trying to get money
Gotcha.
because it was right after school got out in Australia. But when they found him, his work ended at 3, and he would
Yeah.
always go right after work to commit these crimes.
To get off work at 3.
Honestly.
But like, he killed women in the middle of the day.
But
That's
So-
ballsy as fuck, though.
Yeah,
They dream
so
about
he would
getting off of
help,
work at 3.
help them like carry their groceries and stuff, and then beat them in the back of the head with a hammer.
Oh.
And then he would take off their
What is up with
pantyhose
these
and tie it around their
motherfuckers in
neck.
I have heard about this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Well, also the Boston Strangler did that.
Yeah.
So that's a common thing. Thank God we don't wear pantyhose
Well,
anymore.
and there was a
Honestly.
serial killer. There's a serial killer in New York that killed in Central Park that did that.
Yeah,
right?
it's just he would beat them on the back of the head with a hammer, which would kill them.
Yeah.
The pantyhose was just a sign of sexual dominance, I'm pretty
Right.
sure. But he would,
Especially if he was impotent.
yeah, so he
Yeah.
would tie it around their necks, place their walking stick if they had one, which most of these women did. They were very elderly, and put their shoes neatly next to their bodies. So he also would like reach up little old ladies' skirts at nursing homes,
Oh.
where he would deliver pies.
That's not okay.
And the nurses caught him and like freaked out. And so,
Fuck yeah.
so he was charged with that and then got off for good
Because
behavior.
that is one thing that is not talked about enough. Like, yes, we don't talk about
Oh,
sexual assault in
how
men,
we-
but like sexual assault in
Of
fucking-
elderly?
Yes.
Yes, it is horrifying.
It's awful.
I just can't. These people need help and compassion, and I can't. So he had a really troubled relationship. So he was married with 2 children, and his wife, they didn't even go pick up his body from the hospital, right?
Oh, well, good.
His wife, who worked at a nursing home, she was actually questioned by
Fucked
police
up.
before they knew she was his wife, and so she found out and that they were investigating him before she was meant to,
That
by
is
1 in a million chance.
so
But she said she wasn't going to tell
fucked
him
up.
because he had tried to commit suicide before, when they had just questioned him because he was on that route, that sales route.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Did you see anyone in the area?" And he came home and tried to commit suicide. They investigated him further, and his wife's like, "Oh, I'm not going to tell him because last time he almost killed himself," and she had no thought that it could be him. So she didn't tell him that they were investigating him the second time. So his
Good on
mother,
her, though.
he had a bad relationship with, and he apparently had a terrible relationship with his mother-in-law. And so older women and him did not get along, and that's what started it. So his mom died of breast cancer
That tracks.
in 89 when he started killing. Also, he was diagnosed with male breast cancer, which is a really rare thing that's not really
Yeah.
talked about, and
Yeah.
it doesn't
Right.
really play into this at all, but I thought it was an interesting fact.
Uh-huh.
And
'Cause it is really rare.
and
it's not often
get
talked
checked
about.
because breast cancer is horrible, and it's what killed Mary Kay Letourneau. It's on
Yeah.
this, so check yourselves and check your male friends. It's important to look into. Okay, so his mom died right before he started killing these women, all elderly. He also volunteered at a senior citizen society before, so he was what a pedophile does to small children, he was doing with elderly people. Putting
is
himself in their
messed up.
vicinity, finding a job that gives him easy access, marrying a woman who had easy, like, he did all the things. And he sold pies to them and was able to go in and take advantage of these women.
That's fucking sickening.
Yeah, so he was 56 when they have the first proof of him committing a murder, but they're like, no one waits till 56 to start committing murders unless they had an accident or something that caused brain damage, typically.
Yeah.
So they think it would have been earlier. He had been married to his wife for 20 years with children, and his wife had no knowledge of his previous offenses at all. So he straight up lied to her, and that's why she married him, and she cut him off then.
That's horrifying that
Yeah.
he would keep that from her.
Yeah, so the first woman that he
Never
killed,
know anyone.
her name was Gwendolyn Mitchell Hill, and God bless, old people tend to congregate in old people neighborhoods, right?
Right.
They saw her, some school kids saw her walking home, and they got the neighbors and they called 911 because they thought she'd just fallen on her step because she fell backwards in the back of her head. And so the neighbors washed all the blood off the step and completely contaminated the scene because they thought she had just fallen and they didn't want her to wake up and see her blood everywhere. And cops initially thought because the cash in her wallet was taken, right? But it wasn't a lot of cash. And I'll tell you why. He just took the small amounts of cash. So that was the first victim. Police thought that it may have been, they couldn't get any forensic evidence because literally she was washed down. They thought her wounds looked kind of weird, but, she was a very frail old woman who fell.
Right.
Second was Lady Winifreda Isabel Ashton. So this is the wife of the painter. She was 84. She was on her way to her very posh apartment complex, and they had in the foyer, they had a bin room, which is where
Probably in the rocks. That was the bougie part of
Oh.
town.
And so he killed her, and she was inside the foyer, and her shoes were removed, and her cane was next to her, and her stockings were tied. So he knew, like, they knew that this was a murder, and they almost immediately connected it to the first one.
Good.
No, the police work in this is really
Yeah.
excellent. And so she was knocked unconscious, removed pantyhose, strangled her, moved the stick in the shoes, took about $100 in cash from her, and he headed to a pub, and he commented up to the staff that he didn't hope it was another mugging gone wrong to the staff. So he would take their money from their purse, and whatever he had, he'd go buy beer and drink it afterwards.
Did he get chicky parm?
I hope not. Don't disrespect the Chicky Parm like that, man. She was killed, postmortem carried out, no sign of semen, but they found the ligature mark and bruises.
Impotent. So did he, when he sexually assaulted people, was it just like digitally in
I
the
think
fucking...
so.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Interesting, because I feel like with impotence, a lot of times they use
Well, they use the word stroke a lot, which is
Okay.
somehow more horrifying.
Yeah.
So she fought back. She was 84 and she fought back, and she
Good on
fought her so
her.
hard that she
Honestly.
bit through her cheeks because she was pushing back against him when he was trying to strangle her.
Good on her.
So she's an
Fight back.
absolute queen.
Honestly.
But he took the cash to go buy beer, but he didn't take the diamond ring. So he messed up, and they knew 1,000% that this had to do with the killings and not money.
Yeah.
It's not like someone who needs drug money and they're all crazed out of their mind. They would have taken a
Right.
big, giant diamond ring from a very wealthy lady. So he just took the cash, basically, to just go drink. Killed Marjorie Mosley at a retirement home.
Damn, how do you...
Oh, no. He did not kill her. This victim reported to hospital staff that the man had put his hand under her nightgown, but she couldn't remember because she had dementia.
Oh, no!
That is fucked up.
No.
The same thing, he visited another nursing home and fondled her buttocks, slid his hand down the front of another patient's nightdress. A woman cried out for help, and he was briefly questioned by staff of the hospital, then he was kicked out. He assaulted
At least he
elderly
was
woman
kicked out.
Effie on the street on the Upper North Shore, and then he pretended to be a doctor and ran his hand up the dress of Phyllis McNeil at another nursing home. And a lot of times, these women didn't understand what was happening until much later, or they had
Well, that's common with sexual
dementia.
assault victims.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
regardless
and
of their
especially
age.
elderly ones. And
Yeah.
so he followed Doris Cox along the road to her retirement village. She was 86, and he attacked her, and he rammed her face into a brick wall.
Fuck her.
She survived, but she couldn't because she had dementia as well.
No.
So he shoved her face into a brick
my
wall, but she couldn't remember
gosh.
who walked with her. And she couldn't remember anything. And she thought maybe it was a young man, but she just didn't know. And so that's why they started looking, because that matched up with the school time.
Yeah.
But eventually someone caught sight of him, and they had a very good sketch. Like, this
Good.
other lady was determined.
Good,
So,
because sketches often are, like,
Yeah.
not that helpful.
So, Margaret, you have to look at the side-by-side comparison. That woman is sharp as a tack. So, Margaret Pahad was 78-year-old, and she was in Lane Cove, which apparently is pretty ritzy as well. She was walking in a quiet back street. He asked her if she needed help carrying her groceries home, and she invited
sorry.
him inside her house for a cup of tea, and he left. He did not assault her.
Because she was kind to him and invited
We don't.
him in
I
for a
don't
cuppa?
claim to understand
Yeah.
his mind. But on his way out of her house, he saw another old woman and attacked her from behind. She was 85, also on her way home from grocery shopping, and they definitely connected him. She's back on the head with a blunt instrument, and when she clapped, she struck her head on the side. Rearranged clothing, shoes, walking stick, took her handbag. Nobody saw the attack, but her body was found by a young schoolgirl who thought it was a pile of clothing dumped in the laneway. Because she was a tiny little old lady. Neighbors again watched on the crime scene, not knowing, and
I
then
don't understand.
yeah, he
Well,
dumped
you
the
know,
bag on a
protect
golf
your
course and
community.
left.
Huh?
Like, trying to take care of your community.
I get
Yeah.
that, but, like, if you think she just fell, help the old lady up, and when you realize she's a corpse, maybe call the coppers and don't rinse the shit down.
Well,
Right.
a lot of these. So most of the people helping were elderly. Most of the bodies were found by young people and then cleaned up by elderly people. And I think they were trying to show respect without
Yeah.
I get
consciously
that,
knowing.
but fuck.
They didn't want their friend to be found so undignified.
I get
Right.
that.
Which I feel like is a very old person thing.
It is.
If I'm murdered, don't fucking touch me.
Honestly, no.
Right.
Leave it all. If there's semen, if there's piss or shit or
But
anything,
do not even come near me. Don't even breathe on me, okay?
Because let me tell you,
Hashtag COVID.
if I'm going down and someone has murdered me, I am taking chunks of them with me.
Oh, for sure. So within 24 hours of that murder, he killed 81-year-old Olin Cleveland. He struck up a conversation when she was on a bench outside of her retirement village.
No.
She became uncomfortable and got up to try and walk away. So she caught on because they knew someone was killing an elderly woman, and she caught on. She tried to walk away.
Oh, smart
But
woman.
she old.
She
and
couldn't
could
walk.
Only hobble so far.
She couldn't walk fast enough, so she tried to leave, and he got her.
Oh,
That's so
I'm literally about to cry. For some reason, that's making me
Honestly,
so
that's
sad.
so sad.
because we finished 2 bottles of wine.
Right.
Yeah. So he tied the pantyhose around her neck, and he smashed her head in the concrete.
Oh, fuck.
Rearranged everything, took the $60 from her handbag. They thought it was a heavy fall when the people from the hospital found her because it was at the bottom of the ramp. She tried to walk up the ramp, and he dragged her down it. And they washed down the crime scene.
Damn it.
Well, they thought she just fell.
Yeah.
And these
I
women are
know.
so old, people
I
don't
know,
always
I'm not
second guess.
blaming
No,
them,
it's just
but
so sad.
Fuck.
The state government doubled the award to $200,000 for any information. So the state government's trying. And then
Yeah.
Muriel Falconer was sitting in a hotel where she was, or going to an hotel. She was 93 years old, and she was shopping on a visit. So she was staying in a hotel. So he returned to his car, got his hammer and the gloves that he used. He followed her, and she was deaf and blind.
No.
Partially deaf and blind. And
Oh, that's so messed up.
he opened the front door, put his hand around her mouth, and then repeatedly hit her on her head. She fell to the floor, removed the pantyhose. She regained consciousness and cried out for help.
Oh my
So
gosh.
she got hit pretty horribly because she woke up and tried to get help. Took $100 from her, rearranged the shoes. Afternoon, a body was discovered by a neighbor using a spare key. So he followed her into her front door of her house, right? This crime scene was completely preserved, and police were able to get evidence because a neighbor realized that she hadn't been out.
Good.
They opened the door, saw her, and immediately called the police. So they got forensic evidence, but they got bloody shoe prints, which is later tied to him.
Good.
The neighbor described the suspect as middle-aged, portly, and great hair. They upped the information money to $250,000, and I think that neighbor, I watched a couple documentaries, is the one who gave the description, and it's incredible how similar it is. So, January 11th, 1990, visited Greenwich Hospital on his pie sales. He was wearing a uniform, carried a clipboard, came into the back ward. There was 4 elderly ill women, including 82-year-old advanced cancer patient Daisy Roberts. He asked if she was losing any body heat and pulled up her nightgown and touched her in an indecent manner.
Fucker.
She panicked, called for help. The nurse finally caught him in the act at this hospital. But he would
Good.
go to
Oh my
all different
gosh.
places,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like they had consistency.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
good.
When the nurse literally was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He ran. The nurse was able to record his car's registration number and notify the police.
Yes. Good
Mhm.
nurse.
Thank you.
So the hospital staff identified him and named him because he was part of their sales route, so
Yeah.
they knew him on the pie rounds. They returned with a photograph of him, which both the nurse and Roberts positively identified. So the woman who was assaulted and the nurse.
Yeah.
The hospital staff were not linked to the murders for 3 weeks, so they were not reported to the murder task force for 3 weeks. So
Oh.
as soon as it was reported, they were like, "This is our guy." But
Yeah.
it took the other like beat cops 3 weeks to
Yeah.
be like, maybe this is connected.
Yeah.
Which 3 weeks seems like a long time to us, but in a murder investigation, that's
In
nothing.
retrospect,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So the detective from the police station confirmed Glover's name through his employers. They contacted him and requested he attend an interview at the station the following day. He didn't appear. The police ran his phone, and his wife said that he'd attempted suicide by overdose and was at the hospital. So they called just for an interview to see, and he tried to commit suicide. He was awake, and this very young female detective went in and was able to talk to him, and she got a picture of him in the hospital that they can compare to the sketch. She's like, before he lawyers up, before he realizes what's going on, so she went in and got a picture.
Ooh, you ballsy bitch, I love you.
So and she does an interview. And so the middle of the page, it's kind of a weird suicide note that he wrote, but it just wrote, "No more grannies."
What the actual
And then he wrote,
fucking
Essie,
fuck?
which is his mother-in-law, started it.
Oh.
And so it was kind of ranty, and you can't use a suicide note as definitive proof because of the emotional stress that goes into writing it.
Yeah.
Right.
But they had the suicide note and the photo. They passed it on to the task force. There's 70 members involved, by the way, in this task force.
Wow.
Of
70?
70.
Okay.
They're, like, working it. And then the detectives were like, this is him. They had no physical evidence, so they can't arrest him yet, but they put him on 24-hour constant surveillance.
Mm-hmm.
He was interviewed over the assaults, denied all accusations. Police had limited evidence, decided not to question him over the murders yet, so they wanted to give him time. That's when his wife found out that they were questioning him about the murders, not just the assaults, but she didn't tell him. I meant he was constantly followed, but he would drive the wrong way up one-way streets, and so sometimes they would lose him a little bit because the cops couldn't break the law, so he knew he was being followed. Joan Sinclair was the sixth and final victim in Mossman. So she was much younger. She was 60 and a divorcee, and she was a friend of his.
That's messed up.
Well, and this is really messed up. And so he was under constant surveillance, and so they watched him go to her home around 10, but he bought a briefcase, and his wife had said he was going to get legal counsel. So they thought he was lawyering up.
Fuck.
They followed him. He went in at 10 o'clock. No sign by 1. And so the police and surveillance team were concerned. And so they couldn't just enter a house, right? And so they got permission to enter at 6 p.m. because a dog was barking, and they went over to investigate a noise complaint.
Yeah.
They literally had to wait for a reason,
Yep.
and they were literally sitting out there blocking
But
the
that's
exits.
the law.
There's
Yeah.
nothing they could, but
Yeah.
they knew something was up,
Yeah.
and they literally waited. This dog started barking, and they immediately went in for a noise complaint
Yep.
from a neighbor.
Yep.
That's what they did.
Yep.
And
We've experienced that ourselves.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
So the uniformed police officers knocked on the door, check on the dog, no answer. They saw a hammer laying in a pool of dried blood on the rear glass door, so they were able to break in then.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is terrifying.
Fuck yeah.
But these
Reasonable
cops,
cause.
but
Yeah.
thank God they did, because
Yeah.
he survived this, and if they had gotten that evidence incorrectly, he would have gotten off.
Right.
So they went. I mean, this woman was already dead. I mean, she had head blows, like with a hammer. She was
Right.
not going to survive that. So they went in. They found her head battered and wrapped in a bundle of blood-soaked towels because she was a friend. So he wrapped her head up.
Yeah,
she
I
was naked
was
from the
gonna
waist
say.
down. Her pantyhose were tied around her neck,
Oh.
and her genitals were damaged.
No.
But Glover denied raping her. After finding Sinclair's body, they searched the house for Glover. He was unconscious in the filled bathtub after trying to kill himself again.
Okay, but here's the thing. You deny raping her, but her genitals were damaged, so what did you do?
I think he probably
to her?
used an object,
A blunt
and is
object, like
pretending
they
that he
generally
didn't.
do, especially
Yeah.
when they're impotent.
So
Yeah.
he was unconscious. They were able to save him, and not her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Glover told the police he murdered her and explained that they'd been having a relationship. He said that he beat her about the head with a hammer.
That makes more
Removed
sense.
her pantyhose and strangled her with it. Glover rolled the body onto the mat, wrapped 4 towels around her head wounds to stop the blood flow, dragged her body across the room, leaving a trail of blood. He ran a bath, swallowed a handful of Valium with a bottle of whiskey, slashed his left wrist, and lay in the tub to die.
Holy shit.
Okay, but if... Nope, not going to say it.
So, they saved him again. Second time he's been resuscitated. He pleaded not guilty in the trial. He's claimed that he had diminished responsibility and that he was mentally unfit. Every psychiatrist was like,
Fuck you.
no, he's just an asshole.
Super fuck you. Yeah. Yeah.
He said he had a lot of aggression towards his mother and then his mother-in-law, who triggered him. So when she died, he had to take out his aggression on someone else. So as soon as she died, he started attacking older women.
So messed up.
Because you hate your mother-in-law, so that justifies...
Well, the psychiatrist said this was so interesting because they're like, serial killers are rare, right?
Right.
I mean, there's more than we think there are, but there are not that many in a
Yeah,
grand
yeah.
population. That's just not how people work. People aren't serial killers. That's what makes them so fascinating, because they
Right.
are anomalies to human function.
That's why people like study their fucking brains.
Yeah, well, and
Right.
she's, so this, I'm saying she, I don't know if it was she or he, but the psychiatrist was like, a lot of them have real mental illnesses. She's like, this guy is just an asshole. He had no mental illnesses.
Right.
It's not even like he had something that possibly could start to explain his,
Yeah.
he just liked killing old people because
Yeah.
of, he didn't like his mom and his mother-in-law.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Another one said that he had a severe personality disorder, but again, I think that just means he's an asshole.
Yeah.
The Crown prosecutor
Ouch.
maintained that he was aware of his actions. He killed. He also planned what to do with the victim's money. He took a hammer. He cleaned the hammer with acid. He had
He
impotent.
carried the fucking gloves and hammer with him.
Exactly.
Like,
That's
this
what he's like, no,
motherfucker
you
planned
knew
his
this.
Shit.
He was ready for it.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And he used his route as a meat pie deliverer.
Yeah.
And within the nursing homes.
Crime of opportunity, find the right woman.
They assumed that because he was impotent and had no interest in sex, so the pantyhose tied tightly around their necks were to make sure they were dead, while also trying to trick the police into thinking that this was the work of sexually motivated killer.
But no, psychology.
But also the evidence of, no semen found.
Yeah. Well, he's stupid.
Yeah.
So he claimed he was just doing it for the money because he had a poker machine addiction.
$100? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like $100 tops a kill. Fuck you.
They labeled him extremely dangerous and put him on constant watch in prison. And he did get life sentence, and he was not allowed to ever be released.
Good.
Mm-hmm. So days before he finally committed suicide at 72, an outside visitor, the last one who ever came in, he gave them a sketch of a park. And there were 2 pine trees in the image. In the middle of the right palm tree, the number 9. And they either think that's the number of victims or the number of murders that were unsolved. And these are unsolved murders that may have been committed by Glover. Was Emmy Mae Anderson, Irene Kittle, Elsie Boyes, Christina Yankos, Florence Broadhurst, Josephine McDonald, Wanda Abmonson. They thought that all of them could have been connected to him because they think he had, at a minimum, 3, at the most 9 additional victims. He was held at Lithgow Prison, maximum security prison cell. He was on suicide watch. He was constantly examined by a mental health review team and monitored by CCTV. He was given medical examinations as a follow-up to the 2 cancer surgeries. He was found dead in a cell and pronounced dead at 1:25 p.m. He was 72 years old. So there's 2 Australian forensic file type TV shows that I watched both episodes, but that's really all the information he got. As far as I had never heard of him.
Right.
So as far as quote media / fame unquote, so that was all that was done about him. But he just literally killed these women just because he had an attitude, essentially.
Yeah.
That's
that's essentially what happened. And he was, I don't know.
Yeah,
these women survived unnumbered struggles in their life.
right.
They were mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, sisters, wives. A lot of them had gone through losing spouses or losing children and seeing all their family die. They worked through economic hardship. Illnesses, everything, and then to have your life taken away from you while you're just doing basic human needs at an elderly age, especially the ones that were in nursing homes.
Yep.
These people were sitting there just trying to enjoy their last bit of life, and someone came and took that from them. Which, obviously the death of a child is going to be the most devastating because they have so much life potential. But this does not bother me any less because these people earned to be here.
Especially the woman who was in the assisted living nursing
It's so sad.
home, and she realized that this was fishy.
She tried to get away.
That fucking breaks my heart.
It's so sad. But so that is the granny killer, John Wayne Glover. PSA: do not name your child John Wayne.
Honestly, though, learn from history.
They also just knocked down the house of the last murder he did.
Oh,
it was yeah.
Good.
Yeah, they knocked it down and they're rebuilding a different house.
Okay.
Apparently it's a $3.5 million mansion.
Probably in the rocks, then.
Damn.
Yep. I wouldn't want to be where a woman was murdered. And
That's
so the
fair.
home was sold in April 2016 for $3.8 million.
Holy shit.
But when it was sold in 1991, it was under $1 million because there had been an attempted suicide and a grisly murder in the living room. So
yeah,
but that is not a bad deal when you're investing in real estate, but it's bad for everything else.
And as someone who's going to be looking at several houses in the next few days, if someone's murdered in the front room, that might be a deal breaker.
It'll give you ghosty stories. What are you talking about, Carrie? You'll love that.
Okay, my house that was, on the property of 2 different cemeteries.
I know.
Was already sold. That was my ghosty property, but it went. Someone else wanted ghosties.
They get it.
I know.
You should have been here's our business card.
It's going to be quiet. You might have some weird people staring at you, but it's going to be quiet.
See, they
come
would have
on.
appreciated us. You should have been yo.
Yo, listen to my stories. I talk about your ghosties.
Your ghosties. Why did you just get like a fucking, like, I don't even know what gangster.
Well, is there an Aussie way to say bye?
Good night, mate.
All right. We hope you enjoy your tour of Sydney.
That's just
Good day,
regular
mate.
Wales.
Good
All right.
night, mate. Whatever the fuck they said.
Aw.
We hope you.
Call up. That's Welsh.
Oh my god, I stabbed myself in the mouth with my mind. Hard.
All right. Well, good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram at Darkside Tour Guides and on Twitter at Darkside Guides. Give us a like on Facebook at Darkside Tour Guides. Visit the blog at darksidetourguide.wordpress.com or email us at darksidetourguides@gmail.com.